Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tarot. Thank you so much for always following and supporting the channel. The very moment you come across this video is the right time for you to receive its message. On this channel, I always bring forward messages about what is about to unfold in your life. When you open yourself to and trust in the positive energies, you are also aligning with a parallel world in which your wishes have already been fulfilled. Today, through this reading, I hope to help you unlock the possibilities that the future holds, guiding and supporting you on your journey to conquer love and manifest your heartfelt desires. The theme of today's reading is what is about to be decided. I have drawn 3 cards, corresponding to Pile 1, Pile 2, and Pile 3. Listen closely to your intuition and choose the card that draws you in the most, and then click the timestamp in the description to go directly to your reading. Now, let us begin the session with those of you who have already made your choice. Hello to those of you who have chosen Pile 1. Thank you for your patience, and now we shall begin the reading dedicated to those who felt drawn to this pile. May this reading bring you healing, new awareness, and moments overflowing with love and warmth. With the theme What is about to be determined, what will soon reach a decision, the very first card reveals that if you are currently in a relationship, then your partner, the person you are emotionally connected to, is the one moving toward a firm resolution. There is an energy of decisiveness, a clarity forming within their heart. The cards here show that the movement, the force, comes not from you, but from those around you, from the environment you are in, or from the person with whom you are involved. This is not something that stems from your choice or your imposition. It is them, the ones on the other side, who are now making a decision. Quietly, steadily, but with certainty, they are preparing to take an important step forward concerning you. This decision may manifest in matters of love, for example, the desire to formally commit to you, to acknowledge your place in their life. Or it may appear in the realm of career. Perhaps someone has been considering for a long time and is now ready to extend an invitation to select you for a position they have contemplated offering. In other words, this is not a decision you are called to make right now. It is the decision of another, and yet it will directly affect you. What is striking here is that the energy does not revolve around your hesitation or your own indecision. Instead, the focus is on an external power now in motion. This is an arrangement beyond your control, and it is not something you need to attempt to control. The universe is delivering the answer through another channel, through other people. And the card of the Chariot has appeared to affirm this truth. The Chariot carries the message of a strong push forward, a driving force coming from the other side. They are the ones advancing toward you. They are the ones making the decision, taking the action, setting into motion a clear shift. All you are asked to do now is to receive, to recognize that this movement is not initiated by you, but is being brought to you. And then, in the final outcome, the Queen of Cups reveals herself. This signals that you will, in fact, receive exactly what your heart has long yearned for, exactly what you have deeply desired within. More than that, regardless of the shape the final result takes, you will be able to accept it with a whole soul, with a heart truly filled, experiencing happiness and serenity. This card speaks of you embracing the outcome in a state of fullness and contentment, as though everything has finally found its rightful place. And before we dive deeper, I would like us to turn back to the present situation and the past, to illuminate the broader picture and bring even more clarity to what is unfolding. In the section of past and present energies, the cards reflect with striking clarity the state of your heart, the tension, the heaviness, the pressures that have been weighing upon you. I see that in the span of the last 6 months to a year, you have lived through immense shifts, transformations so profound they feel as though your entire life has been overturned. Yet, this overturning has not been destructive, but rather like a powerful rebirth. There is a sense that you embarked on many new beginnings all at once, not just 1 or 2 changes, but a cascade of events, a sequence of turning points unfolding back to back. It may have been leaving behind a long-term relationship, parting ways with someone who once walked by your side. At the same time, it may have been stepping into a new career path, entering a completely different environment. For some, it may have meant marriage, and along with that, a change of home, even moving into a new city, a new place entirely. And naturally, with such movement, everything else shifted as well. Friendships altered, your social circle transformed, even the pursuits and passions that once defined your focus and devotion are no longer the same as they once were. The energy is clear. What has taken place has not been a scattering of small, isolated changes. It has been an all-encompassing renewal. You are in the midst of recreating yourself, of reshaping your very life. You have released what was old, and in its place, Wave after wave of new experiences has poured in, carrying opportunities, but also challenges. And because it has all arrived at once, at times it feels overwhelming, tangled, almost impossible to know where to begin or how to arrange the pieces. Yet beneath it all, there is an undeniable positivity, a necessary restructuring of both your outer world and your inner being. So perhaps now, as you look back to who you were just a year ago, or even 6 months ago, you realize that the person of that time and the person you are now live in two completely different worlds. Everything surrounding you, the environment, the people, the energies, has shifted. And most likely, you did not anticipate this, you did not prepare for it, because it arrived suddenly, unexpectedly, like a wave that crashed into your life and carried you to an entirely new shore, where you had no choice but to learn, adapt, and grow stronger. In essence, the energy from these cards reveals that you are standing within a cycle of rebirth. What was old has faded, what is no longer aligned is being released, and what is new has rushed in to usher you into another chapter. This process may at times feel stressful, burdensome, or heavy to bear. Yet at the same time, it is the very path of healing, the very road that leads you toward the fullness and emotional completion that the Queen of Cups promised in the final outcome. And in the section of present energies, I see that the Seven of Cups has appeared. This card opens a window into the sense that between you and someone else, there may have been a misalignment, a moment where the two of you were no longer in rhythm, no longer fully understanding one another. It suggests that you may be carrying within you a seed of doubt, a subtle mistrust toward someone in your life, or perhaps you are questioning the very path you are walking, wondering if what you are doing right now is truly right for you. Because in the past several months, or even over the last year, you have embarked on something new, perhaps a new job, a new relationship, or a major turning point in life. And with these new beginnings has come a question rising within you. Is this really the right choice for me? Am I truly moving in the direction I'm meant to go? And so, the Strength card has appeared in its reversed position. It reflects the moments where you have doubted your own decisions, where your confidence in your choices has wavered. For example, in love, there may have been someone you once believed wholeheartedly was your destined partner, someone in whom you placed your complete trust. Yet, suddenly, a moment came when you caught yourself thinking, perhaps I was mistaken, perhaps this is not the person truly meant for me. Or in work, you may have begun with conviction, believing that this was the career, the path that suited you, one that would bring joy and fulfillment. And yet, after some time, a vague sense of misalignment began to creep in, a feeling that something does not quite fit, that harmony is missing. It is not complete disappointment, not total disillusionment, but it is enough to slow you down, enough to plant the seeds of doubt. I sense this energy vividly. It is the collision between expectation and reality, between what you once believed with certainty and what you are actually living through now. It manifests as inner conflict and at times as outward disagreements, differing opinions between you and others. Or it may take shape as a split within your own heart, an inner dissonance that makes you feel unsteady upon the path you had chosen. The card also shows that because of these doubts, you have not been able to pour yourself wholly into what you are doing. You hold back, your passion no longer burns as brightly as it once did. What was once a blazing fire has now been veiled by a mist of uncertainty, dimmed but not extinguished, waiting for clarity to restore its full brilliance. In the imagery of the card I am seeing, although the figure is not depicted as two distinct human beings, there are clearly two presences, two entities standing side by side, coexisting in the same space. This immediately evokes for me the sense of a situation involving two sides, perhaps between you and another person. It carries the impression of a relationship strained by tension, a subtle knot of misunderstanding, where the hearts of the two are slowly drifting apart, no longer resonating in the harmony they once shared. And naturally, when love falters, when emotional connection weakens, it so often ripples into other areas of life. You may notice that when your relationship does not feel complete or fulfilling, your work also becomes more difficult to give yourself to wholeheartedly. Inspiration in your career may feel diminished. Your energy invested in other pursuits may dwindle as well. It is as though when one part of life is not flowing smoothly, the entire rhythm of your being becomes unsettled, unsteady. Thus, the present energy is pointing quite clearly to a phase of self-questioning, a place where you feel both confused and doubtful, where you sense yourself out of sync with someone or with a certain circumstance. And yet, this is also the moment when you are being invited to look directly into those gaps, to confront the spaces where something feels missing, to acknowledge the truth within your own heart, and to reconnect with yourself before taking the next steps forward. What I sense is that within you now there is a haze, a fog that clouds your inner clarity. You are not entirely certain of yourself, and perhaps your mind is weighed down with unresolved thoughts and emotions that burden your spirit, leaving you uneasy, restless. This is why I feel drawn to look deeper, to dig more carefully into the present energy to illuminate what is unfolding. It may be that recently you have found yourself with little motivation, little inspiration to do the things you once poured yourself into with ease. Even during the time of the Lionsgate portal, an astrological gateway of immense energetic intensity, many have felt drained rather than invigorated, weary, languid, lacking the usual fire. And it may be that you too have been affected by this wave of energy, leaving your spirit more fatigued, your vitality less radiant than before. In this reading, the Ten of Swords has appeared in its reversed position. This indicates that you are currently caught in a whirlpool of thoughts, spiraling inward again and again. Normally, you may be able to maintain a sense of optimism, to view situations from a more positive perspective, yet at this moment it feels as though your mind is leaning heavily toward the darker side. You are overthinking, revisiting the same matters until the line between what is essential and what is unnecessary has blurred. These thoughts loop endlessly, pulling you into a cycle of repeated rumination where the more you think, the more trapped you feel. And when this card surface is reversed, it carries a reminder: you do not need to remain in this state. The very effort of denying or suppressing these negative thoughts, the attempt to force them away, may be the very reason they weigh you down even more. It is as if you are demanding of yourself that you must always be strong, you must always be positive, even while inside uncertainty, worry, and a sense of insecurity have been building. What is clear here is that you have not yet fully stepped out of this heaviness. This is not the energy of something already overcome. Rather, it is the sensation of still being caught within it. You may find yourself doubting someone, only to then criticize yourself for harboring such suspicion, telling yourself that such thoughts are wrong or unworthy. Or perhaps you insist that your perspective must be flawed, that you have misjudged the situation. And so you are caught in a loop, doubt giving rise to self-reproach falling back into doubt. The mind circles endlessly, restless, exhausted, with no clear point of release. This, I feel, is the very state you are experiencing now, an inner stalemate where conflicting thoughts crash against one another in an unending storm. Looking deeper, I see the roots of this pattern intertwined with the recent surge of energy from the Lionsgate portal. Despite its name evoking grandeur and immense power, not everyone experiences this energy as uplifting. For many, the intensity of its flow is so strong that it weighs upon both body and spirit, making it difficult to focus, difficult to harness one's natural vitality. While Lionsgate is often spoken of as a time of radiance, of rising momentum and empowerment, for many of you this year it has brought instead a sense of challenge, even exhaustion. And yet, this is not a bad omen. In truth, the power of Lionsgate is always formidable, and when it sweeps through, it has the ability to stir up the hidden shadows within, the parts of yourself you have long suppressed or hesitated to face. Thus, the weariness or confusion you now feel does not mean you are straying from your path. It means that this energy is surfacing what must be seen, bringing forth what needs recognition. It is like a process of purification. You are being called to look directly into your darker thoughts, to acknowledge the emotions you had tucked away so that you may release and heal them. So even though right now you may feel discomfort, stagnation, as though you are blocked or unable to move forward, this stage is meaningful. It is not an end, but an essential part of your journey, a necessary passage in the growth of your soul, a step in the greater arc of your healing and transformation. Therefore, for those of you who feel as though you are in a state of having no motivation at all, the message here is that you absolutely do not need to force yourself to act right now. There is no need to push, no need to pressure yourself into doing something simply because you think you must maintain a certain pace. Allow yourself to rest, to soften, to let go. I, too, have often felt this very strongly, this restless stirring of energy, this unease that makes it difficult to sit still. That nameless agitation, that sense of nervousness without clear cause, is born from energy becoming overwhelmingly intense, with both body and mind reacting in tandem to its force. And I want to emphasize this. The very moment you are watching this reading is truly your moment. Even if it does not align exactly with the timing of the Lionsgate portal, it does not matter, for energy is always moving, always flowing. You may be affected by other vibrations, the pull of the new moon, the fullness of the full moon, or other potent movements of the heavens. Many of you may have noticed lately that you are highly sensitive, feeling unsettled, easily influenced by planetary cycles. This year, Lionsgate reached its peak on the 8th, and immediately after, on the 9th, we had a full moon. As a result, the energy of the cosmos became layered, woven together, and at times so intense that both body and spirit felt overwhelmed. And then, on the 11th, Mercury's retrograde came to its close. This entire period truly resembled a tidal wave of energy crashing in, creating both pressure and at the same time preparing the ground for release. Soon after these movements pass, you will likely begin to feel a sense of relief, of greater ease and clarity. And here, the card of Archangel Michael has appeared, carrying with it a very clear message. Your worries are unnecessary. Place your focus on the outcome you truly desire. Hand over, release, surrender all feelings of regret, guilt, or anxiety to the angels so that they may lift them from you and cleanse them on your behalf. This is a profoundly important reminder. The fears, the thoughts, the inner turbulence that are weighing you down in this moment are nothing more than illusions of the mind. What is fascinating is how this ties back to the Ten of Swords that appeared earlier. When cosmic energy intensifies, so too does your imagination, your sensitivity, and your ability to connect with the spiritual realm. At such times, you can more easily receive inspiration, more easily align with your intuition and the voice of the universe. If you know how to place your focus upon what you truly wish for, if you orient yourself toward the positive, you will find yourself deeply inspired, moved and carried by messages and guidance from the higher realms. But at the very same time, the shadow of this energy also grows strong, the darker polarity, the opposing current, which can drag you down into negative thinking, confusion, and worry. In other words, this is a period where illumination is within easy reach, yet so too is the risk of being drawn into the shadows of doubt. And it is precisely your choice. Where you set your mind, where you direct your focus, that will determine whether you are lifted by positive inspiration or pulled into the heaviness of unease. This energy is not here to challenge you without meaning. It is here to invite you to look directly into yourself, to recognize where your focus is being placed. If you allow your mind to drift toward the light, you will see new doors opening, streams of inspiration flowing in. If you let it lean toward the shadows, your heart will only grow heavier. And this is precisely why the message from the universe at this time is so clear. Release your worries. Allow the angels and the energy of light to hold and uplift you, and focus on what you truly desire so that you may receive illumination in its fullness. Indeed, in this three-dimensional world, there are always two forces moving side by side. One is the force pulling you toward light, guiding you into positivity. The other is the opposing current, pulling you toward negative thoughts. Both of these currents are always present, always moving, always balanced, acting upon us simultaneously. And so, the things you are worrying about now are, in truth, unnecessary worries, burdens without substance. The message being sent to you is this: you do not need to pay so much attention to the things that trouble you, because they are illusions of the mind. Instead, imagine that what you most long for has already come to pass. Place yourself in the state as if it has already happened. Ask yourself, how would your heart tremble? How would your soul feel if that desire were already real? Let yourself merge into that vibration of happiness. Let your heart be nourished by love and joy. For the universe is reminding you that you have the power of choice, and it urges you to choose the path of happiness, to choose what brings you peace and wholeness, to choose love over fear. I also sense that many of you at this time may be carrying within your heart's feelings of regret, self-reproach, or even the weight of guilt. Thoughts such as, I was wrong. If only I had done it differently. I don't deserve this. These voices of self-blame and unworthiness are surfacing strongly, and they are precisely the currents pulling you downward into heaviness. Especially in the period of Mercury retrograde, when our minds are naturally inclined to revisit the past, to dig up old stories, old wounds, this tendency becomes stronger. The energy of retrograde pulls you back into memories of mistakes made, stirring obsessions with past choices, leaving you feeling trapped in wounds that no longer need to define you. From there arise feelings of regret, guilt, and self-torment. This is not unusual for this time. And so, at this moment, I sense that even if you are no longer within the exact cycle of Lionsgate energy, you may still be under the influence of the past pressing in on you. You may have noticed yourself lately drifting into memories, replaying old scenarios, re-examining what has already been, and in doing so, slipping into negativity without realizing it. This is what weighs down your spirit. If you recognize yourself in this description, then the message of the cards comes through with crystalline clarity. It is time to let go. Release the emotions heavy with regret. Set down the burden of guilt. Dissolve the fear that has been clinging to your heart. All of that is already behind you. It holds no value in keeping you bound any longer. The universe wants you lighter, freer. It wants you to allow those old emotions to dissolve, to vanish, so that love and light can finally flood in and take their rightful place within you. And when you are able to truly release your worries, when you can finally set down the burdens you have been carrying, the energy within you will become so much lighter, so much freer. And here I see a message of good news arising. This good news is directly connected to the environment around you, to the people present in your life. It may be your partner in matters of love, or it may be connected to your work, your career, or to the endeavors you have been pursuing with effort and dedication. The message here is clear. All of these aspects are beginning to move, preparing to set into motion. For the Chariot has appeared, the symbol of forward movement, of strong and decisive advancement. It is the harbinger of energy preparing to surge toward you. So, if right now you feel as though you are in a stage of being held back, as though you are bowed low, crouching under the weight of pause, do not be afraid. For this act of lowering, this moment of retreat, is itself the preparation that allows you to leap higher, to reach further. What you are enduring now is not meaningless regression. It is the gathering of momentum, the coiling back before a spring that is ready to launch you into flight. The difficulties you are facing are but the signs, the precursors of something crucial soon to be determined, of a turning point, a decision of great significance that is fast approaching. And I want you to understand this. Before something truly happens, before a result stands clear before our eyes, we often carry within us a mixture of anticipation and fear. For as long as it has not yet manifested in tangible form, the mind so easily transforms that absence into worry. Human beings are almost always placed between two choices, love or fear, light or shadow. And yet, because of the habitual loops of past experiences, we tend to choose fear more often. The soul, accustomed to repetition, feels safer reliving a familiar disappointment than daring to trust in something new it cannot yet see. And so, even when you tell yourself, I don't want the same painful outcome to repeat again, a part of you still unconsciously clings to the familiar, even if that familiar is disappointment. And it is precisely this that causes the unwanted patterns to repeat, again and again, beneath the surface of your awareness. But this time, the cards emphasize you are breaking free. The current is shifting. The cycle of repetition will no longer bind you as it has before. A transformation is drawing near, and the message for you is this: change has already begun. Everything is moving into a new rhythm, preparing to carry you into a different flow, a different cadence of life. Before delving deeper into why this shift is arriving, into what has sparked this turning point, into what will become the key that helps you step out of the cycle and into a new path, I drew additional cards. And here appeared Sanctuary, Stick, and Round. This is such a striking synchronicity, for earlier I spoke of the loop, the circle of repetition, and now these very cards rise to confirm it. Indeed, you have found yourself trapped many times within that familiar orbit, circling the same ground. But it is precisely because of this that you are drawing so near to the moment of breaking it, to the moment of stepping beyond the old wheel and opening into a new chapter altogether. This moment comes as a profound reminder that repetition is not meaningless. It has been showing you, again and again, the same path you have walked, so that now you are finally ready to turn, to choose a new direction, to step into a journey that is altogether different. This is the very beginning of an important decision that is being shaped in your life, a decision that carries the weight of transformation. The card behind the mask has appeared, and when I hold it side by side with Round, its meaning becomes unmistakably clear. On this card, an image of a mask emerges, suggesting the feeling that something within you, something deeply authentic, the truest part of who you are, has long been hidden, covered, tucked away from the world. And now that very essence is beginning to stir, beginning to reveal itself, beginning to step out into the light. I see it clearly, what you truly long for, the desire that lives in the most intimate depths of your soul, is being given the chance to rise. You are being invited to face it, to acknowledge it, to embrace it consciously. It is no longer cloaked or suppressed, but showing itself fully, asking to be recognized. This rising is further affirmed by the presence of the card Sanctuary. This reveals that recently you have done something sacred, something awakening, an act that has opened the gateway for new energy to enter. Perhaps you set foot in a temple, a shrine, a church, or another holy site, one of those power spots that emanate potent energy, radiating peace, offering purification. Or perhaps you attended an event, a gathering where people of high vibration came together, souls carrying inspiration, transmitting light, touching your spirit in ways that resonated deeply. Or maybe you encountered, seemingly by chance, a power person, a mentor, a guide, a spiritual friend whose presence awakens something within you, stirring your soul on a profound energetic level. Each of these experiences, whether through place or through person, bears the mark of a turning point, catalyzing movement within, shaking the surface of your being, awakening the long-buried desires of your heart. And if it was not an external experience of this kind, it may simply have been an interactive purification within your own living space. Perhaps you began tidying your room, reorganizing your belongings, practicing release and cleansing, dance sheri, the art of letting go, transforming your house, your room, into a true sanctuary. A place where each time you enter, you feel a tangible sense of relief, of calm, of gentle safety. A space where your energy feels protected, supported, nourished. And it is this very act, small as it may seem, that has shifted your energetic field, allowing you to reconnect with your soul. All of this, whether through sacred places, inspired encounters, or the mindful purification of your own space, has acted as a gateway, a stirring, a vibration that reaches deep within you. It is what has begun to call forth the truth long hidden, bringing it to the surface so that you may finally face it, honor it, and step toward the path your soul has been yearning for. The things you have done, whether grand or seemingly small, whether stepping into a sacred place, meeting a special soul, or simply changing the space in which you live, all of them have been guiding you toward one singular purpose, awakening you at the level of the soul. And it is precisely this awakening that has begun to draw forth what was once hidden, the truths you thought you had forgotten, or the desires you believed you never knew. They are now rising to the surface, clear and undeniable. These are your true wishes, the primordial, untainted yearnings of your soul. They are no longer buried in the subconscious, no longer suppressed, but revealing themselves openly, so you can finally recognize and admit, this is what I truly want. This is the wish I have always longed for. I feel strongly that the recent Lionsgate portal has acted as the catalyst for this process, allowing it to unfold naturally. It was like a great wave of energy tearing away the mask, helping you see and confront the truth within your heart. And because of this, it is highly possible that in the near future you will witness developments that may not match what you had imagined in your mind, nor align with the plans you had so carefully drawn. Instead, situations and events may arise unexpectedly, opening new pathways, because your soul has begun to reveal what it truly desires. It may not resemble the dreams you once thought were yours, but it is the inner truth, and that is what matters most. And here I see very clearly, something profound is happening. Because you have recently received and absorbed the immensely powerful stream of energy flowing from Sirius through the Lionsgate portal, your deepest subconscious has begun to stir. Desires long hidden in the depths of your soul, yearnings you may never have fully acknowledged, are now surfacing. And because of this, those purest wishes are finally being given the chance to take form, to manifest into reality. This is not simply about someone approaching you, or an ordinary offer arriving at your door. This carries a deeper meaning. It signifies that things you never dared to dream, things you never even thought to ask for, may suddenly come knocking unannounced. There is something arriving from outside of you, not just a person, not just an event, but the very current of destiny itself shifting, turning, bringing you gifts you never planned for, never prayed for. And so, if at this moment you feel as though you have no motivation left, if the future seems unclear, if some of you even feel lost, murmuring to yourselves, I don't know what I want anymore. I have no dream, no desire left within me. This, too, is a sign of blessing. For it means you are entering the state of surrender. And it is in that state that your soul begins to speak, begins to lead. Your steps are no longer bound by ego, no longer dictated by reason or by forced striving. Instead, it is your soul itself, quietly, naturally, guiding you, carrying you into alignment with the path that is truly yours. This is living proof that you are being guided, that you are being illuminated by your higher self. And so, what is about to be decided may not appear on the list of goals you once wrote down, nor fall within the careful outlines of your past plans. It may come from an entirely different doorway, from an unexpected turn in the path. The root of this beginning, as the cards show, lies in the fact that you have already chosen, in your own way, to reconnect with yourself. Perhaps you stepped into a land of strong energy, a sacred site, a sanctuary. Perhaps you met souls of high vibration who stirred something within you. Or perhaps, in simplicity, you sat quietly with yourself, allowing release, allowing clear energy to pour in. These actions, small as they might have seemed, are in truth the origin of this turning point. They are what have opened the gate, what have set in motion the flow leading toward the important decision that now approaches your life. And as we go deeper into the question, what exactly is about to be decided, and how will the future unfold once that decision takes shape, the Seven of Cups has appeared, this time in its reversed position. This is a significant turning point, for the Seven of Cups in its upright form is often the card of illusions, of hazy dreams, of choices that overwhelm and confuse. Yet when it is reversed, its message becomes sharp, decisive, undeniable. The illusions dissolve, the fog lifts, and the choices that once left you paralyzed will fade away. What emerges is clarity. True desires, the genuine longings of your soul, rise to the surface and prepare to manifest, while the false paths, the shallow options, the glittering distractions begin to fall away. This is your threshold moment, the sign that destiny is crystallizing, that the vague outlines of possibility are solidifying into form. What is striking here is this: when the matter is finally decided, the energy will become grounded and tangible. No longer hovering in the realm of hazy daydreams or distant ideals, it anchors itself into the physical, into reality. The things you once thought of as unattainable dreams, fragile ideals shimmering out of reach, will suddenly feel natural, obvious, as if they had always belonged to you. You will notice yourself becoming calmer, more rational, more centered. This is the point where your feet press firmly into the earth. No more drifting in uncertainty, no more floating through unformed possibilities. Here you stand, steady, with a foundation beneath you. And once this decision takes root, the pieces of your life will begin to fall into their rightful places, as though each brick were being carefully laid, creating stability, order, and strength. Everything begins to move in reality, visible, palpable, no longer imagined or endlessly awaited. In recent months, especially as you passed through the turbulent energy of the Lion's Gate portal, you may have felt unmoored, as though suspended between worlds, sometimes weightless, sometimes fatigued, sometimes lost in a haze of uncertainty. But now the message is clear. Those mists will settle, those restless currents will dissolve, and what remains is a profound sense of steadiness, of balance returning. And then I drew further cards, seeking to illuminate not just love, but the broader canvas of your life. The first card to appear spoke of self-love, a resounding reminder that you must recognize your own worth, that you must embrace yourself with the same tenderness you wish to receive from another. Following this came cards bearing the message of hearing messages from spirit, the call of your soul, the whispers from the higher realms. The emphasis here is powerful. Through the event that is about to occur, you will finally come face to face with your heart's truth. You will know, with unshakable certainty, what your soul has been longing for all along. It will be as if something strikes you and you exclaim, "So this is what I truly wanted. This is what I have been yearning for." And then, intriguingly, the Chariot appeared once more. But this time, it came reversed. How can we not pause here? What does this signify? Why, when earlier the Chariot appeared upright, blazing forward as the herald of movement and progress, does it now reveal itself inverted? This dual appearance carries meaning. It suggests that the universe does not yet wish to unveil the full answer to you. There is a veil drawn deliberately across part of the truth, a fragment of the outcome being withheld, so that you may experience it yourself, step into it without pre-knowledge, and meet it with openness and wonder. The message is, it is coming, it is surely on its way toward you, but you are not meant to know every detail just yet. Part of this decision, part of this unfolding, is sacred in its mystery, waiting for you to encounter it in your own time. And then another card revealed itself. Meditation brings answers. What is synchronicity? For the message of meditation has been emphasized again and again, like a gentle yet insistent urging for you to pause, to become still, to listen to yourself. This means that instead of waiting for someone or something outside of you to hand you the answer, you are being called to discover it in the quiet of your own soul. Allow your mind to return to a state of stillness, and in that silence, you will see the path illuminated. You will recognize the truth, because it has always been there, already waiting within you. Thus, the cards are telling you that the near future will bring stability, that things will indeed fall into their rightful order. Yet at the same time, the universe holds back a piece of the mystery, so that you will not simply receive passively, but will be urged to connect actively with your soul. Through meditation, through listening to the whispers of your inner voice, you will find your own answer to what lies ahead. And then, What captures my attention is the card that just emerged. Up to this point, I have stressed repeatedly that this decision, this movement, would come from the other side, that an opportunity, a flow, an event would make its way toward you. But now, as the card appears in its reversed position, its message shifts. It is not merely that something external is being brought to you, but that you yourself, with conscious focus, with the clarity of intention, with the energy you have been radiating, have drawn it in. In other words, what is coming is not random. It is magnetized by your own longing, by the seed of intent you planted in the universe, which has now set the current into motion. Alongside this, I see the card of self-love appearing once again, a powerful reminder that all beginnings, all manifestations, are rooted in how deeply you embrace and cherish yourself. It makes me wonder, is it true that right now you are desperately waiting for something to be decided? Is there a matter you yearn to see brought to closure, a truth you ache to see revealed in certainty? Perhaps you are waiting for an answer in love, maybe a proposal, a decision to move into marriage, a commitment long anticipated. Or perhaps you are waiting for a result in work, from a company, from a professional opportunity into which you have poured so much hope. And this very waiting, this restless need for resolution, is what fuels your unease, what makes your heart feel clouded and unsettled. It is as though you are standing in a long corridor, longing for the door at the end to finally swing open. I sense that you are impatient, even anxious, because you so deeply want everything to be decided now, to be sealed, to be known. And to confirm this, I drew further, and the Hierophant appeared. The Hierophant carries the energy of structure, of tradition, of discipline and systems, but at the same time it mirrors back your inner state of unease, your worries, your tendency to become rigid either with yourself or with others. You may be finding yourself overly sensitive, quick to react emotionally, quick to criticize, and this itself is the sign that your spirit is restless, that you are waiting and yearning for something decisive. It is as though your inner voice is crying out, "Give me an answer now, clear and final, yes or no, gain or loss, tell me what it is to be." And it is precisely in this moment, in this very circumstance, that the message emerges once again. The sweet fruit does not come from forcing, but from waiting for the right season. There is a saying that echoes here, "Let the past sleep, let everything unfold in its own rhythm." This is a reminder that you do not need to push, you do not need to rush things to arrive faster. The universe has its own timing, and everything will naturally fall into place the very moment it is meant to. Another card reveals itself. Get more information. It speaks to you clearly. Before a decision is made, widen your perspective, gather more insight, listen further, expand your awareness. Do not let yourself be consumed solely by the impatience of wanting an immediate answer. And then comes golden light. Healing comes from within. The repetition of the message could not be more obvious. True healing, true clarity, can only arise from within. You already hold the answer. It does not rest in the hands of others. It does not lie in the outcome someone else gives you, but rather it dwells within your own being, in the depth of your connection with your soul. And to reinforce this, once again the Chariot appears, emblem of triumph, of forward momentum, of opportunities waiting on the horizon. Yet here too, it has turned up reversed. In its upright form, the Chariot promises victory and determination, but reversed, it shifts into a mirror of disarray, of fear, of a loss of direction born from your longing for a decision to arrive. It reflects back to you that it is the very impatience, the very restlessness, that clouds your clarity, that pulls you off rhythm. All that the card is showing you is this. Yes, there is indeed something you want decided, something your heart is yearning to see defined. But instead of forcing, instead of charging headlong into fear and chaos, the message for you is to turn inward, to reconnect with your own essence. The true answer is already within you. Your soul has known it all along, and when you become still, when you truly listen, you will realize that the moment is drawing near. Yet the only way to meet it is not to push, not to demand, but to release the urgency and let it arrive naturally, softly, into your open hands. And it is for this reason that within you now rise the waves of worry, the unsettling thoughts. What if it does not happen? What if the decision never comes? What then? This sense of unease, this current of fear, feels as though it is overtaking you, making it harder to hold on to calm. And it is exactly when your mind dwells too deeply on the anxieties, when all of your focus is placed upon the negative possibilities, that what could have flowed smoothly may find itself blocked. The energy veers off course, and opportunities that might have been within reach risk slipping away, simply because fear has been allowed to lead the way. Here, the chance for change card emerges, a message of opportunity being offered to you. It shows that in this moment you are standing at a clear crossroads. One path is the path of surrender. This is the way where you release every worry, where you trust wholeheartedly that the most beautiful outcome will naturally find its way to you. You entrust everything to your higher self, to the divine aspect that dwells within your soul. Believe that within you there is also a godlike essence, a higher being, and you can allow that part of your soul to lead the way. Speak to yourself, affirm to your inner being, I offer everything to the highest part of myself, I surrender, please guide me. To walk this path, you must go deeper into your inner world. Ask yourself with complete honesty, what is it that I truly long for the most? What is it that my soul deeply desires? It is through this dialogue with yourself, with your own heart, that the answer will be revealed. And then there is the second path, the path of doubt and fear. If you let fear take hold of your mind, you will begin to act rashly, to let anxiety push you into unnecessary actions, steps taken out of alignment. And it is in that very moment that things begin to stray off course, that the results slip further and further away from what you had hoped for. This is why the message from the universe is so clear right now. Grasp the opportunity, choose the right path. For luck, chance, and blessings are approaching you. You are only one small step away, and then the very things your soul has long craved will begin to manifest. That moment is drawing near, the moment when your dream meets its fulfillment. This is why the cards keep stressing. Do not be hasty, do not be reckless, do not allow worry to drown you. When restlessness rises, breathe, let go, release your grip on fear. Do not allow yourself to be pulled into the spiral of doubt. The message repeats again and again. Release the fear. Release the panic. Release what makes your heart tremble. Because what is coming is real. What you have truly desired, what your soul has been longing for all this time, is on its way into being. That is why, right now, the most important thing you can do is to hold your inner state steady, calm, and grounded. Let meditation become your bridge. Let silence guide you back into your soul. For meditation is where you can hear the call from within, where you return to the very center of your being. And the final message affirmed by this reading is this: healing, peace, clarity, all of it begins from within. Only when you reconnect with yourself, only when you turn inward, will you truly see the path before you and seize the opportunity that is approaching. Because the golden light card has appeared, I feel strongly that among those of you listening now, there are some who are in a state of inner turmoil, carrying many worries, many disturbances of the heart. And it is precisely for this reason that I wish to guide you now into a space of meditation, a healing meditation, to help you loosen, to let your mind and your heart be soothed. So let us take this small journey together now. First, take a seat in a way that feels truly comfortable. Allow your body to release, to soften, to rest. What is so fascinating here is that even though you have come to this reading seeking an answer about what is about to be decided, the cards whisper that this will remain a secret for now, a gift that the universe is keeping for you to wait upon, for you to receive as a joyful surprise. The universe does not reveal the exact details, but it assures you of one thing: what you are longing for, what your subconscious and your soul have been truly yearning for, is destined to come into reality. And so, the message is clear. Surrender, trust, allow it to arrive in its perfect timing. Which means that right now, the most important thing you can do is to reconnect with yourself, to return inward, to touch the answer that already resides within your soul. So let us begin. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep, slow inhale and exhale. Once more, breathe in deeply and breathe out completely. And again, very slowly. With every breath you draw in, you are welcoming in light and life, and with every exhale, you are releasing tension, releasing worry, letting go of the heaviness still clinging to your mind. In this way, you begin to feel your body growing lighter, softer, more at ease. As you continue to breathe naturally, imagine that all the burdens you have been carrying, as though they were stones weighing down your shoulders, are now beginning to fall away, piece by piece, leaving you with a sensation of comfort and relief. Your shoulders loosen, no longer held in rigid strain. And yet, let your back remain straight, your spine tall and lengthened, like a strong pillar connecting you with the vast current of universal energy. Now, allow your body to soften even further. Release the shoulders, release the arms. You may gently roll your head to the left, then to the right, stretching the neck, freeing the flow of energy where it has been blocked. Give yourself permission to softly shake your shoulders, to tilt your head lightly, to let your body slip fully into this state of relaxation. And now, together, let us release with a sigh, long, deep, resonant. Let the sound carry away what remnants of tension still remain. We will do this a few more times. Inhale, and then exhale, ha. As though with each sound, every trace of worry, every fragment of fatigue is being emptied out, dissolving into the open air. By now, you may already sense your body expanding, as though every single cell is breathing, every part of you is loosening. The shoulders hang free, the mind grows quiet. But remember this, your back remains upright, your spine a living symbol of the sacred connection between earth and sky. This is the posture that allows energy to flow without obstruction, where you can both relax completely and stand rooted in strength. And now you are ready to go deeper, to enter more fully into the calm, the clarity, the luminous stillness that arises from within yourself. After repeating a few long exhales with the sound ha, allow your body to soften a little more. Try gently rolling your shoulders. First, roll them backward, slowly and lightly, as though each rotation were peeling away the heavy layers that have been weighing on your shoulders. You might even hear a small crackling sound, as if the joints themselves are being released. That sensation feels relieving, doesn't it? Then, roll the shoulders forward, again slowly, so that the energy can circulate more freely through your upper back and shoulder blades. Next, lift your shoulders up high, as if you were trying to bring them to touch your ears, tightening them firmly for a brief moment, and then let them drop down with ease. As you release, exhale deeply, letting out the sound ha, so that all the pressure flows outward with your breath. Try it once more. Inhale deeply, lift your shoulders up, and then release, letting them fall as you exhale with another long ha. Your body immediately begins to sense comfort spreading through it, a wave of lightness filling you. Now, place your hands one over the other and rest them at the center of your chest, right over the sternum, the very crossroads of the heart's energy. Keep your hands there, close your eyes, and allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Begin to hum softly with the sound hum, letting the vibration rise from your nose so that it resonates and spreads through your chest. As you hum, you will feel the reverberation reaching directly into your heart, as though the sound itself were setting your heart into resonance. Try repeating it several more times until you can clearly sense that vibration inside your chest cavity. What you are actually doing is allowing the voice of your own being to touch your heart, letting the sound transform into a current of energy that attunes the heart chakra. As your voice resonates within your chest, it feels as if your heart is opening, as if it is receiving healing. This is a technique sometimes used in vocal training, but today we weave it into the process of healing, merging body, breath, and sound into one to create balance. You can also replace the humming with the exhale sound ha. When you let this sigh flow out, you will notice a clear vibration in your chest. At that moment, you are also letting stagnant energy drain away, releasing the worries and pressures that have been lingering in your heart. Every breath, every tone, becomes a wave that carries away heavy energy, restoring clarity and lightness to your heart. As you continue to breathe and make sound, keep your hands resting gently on your chest. Hold this connection so that you can sense the current of energy flowing from your palms into your chest, while at the same time, the vibration from your heart flows back into your hands. It is a silent yet powerful dialogue where body and soul merge into one rhythm. And right now, the healing has already begun. It is unfolding naturally, without effort, simply through your release and your connection. As you continue to sustain your breath and vibration, allow your body to sense that the heaviness inside is gradually being released. With each ha, with each hum, those burdens drift away, leaving behind stillness and lightness within you. In this moment, as your hands remain on your chest, feel the warmth radiating outward like a golden light shining from your heart, spreading throughout your entire body, embracing you in healing arms. And now, as your mind is soothed, as your heart hums with resonance, you are ready to take a deeper step into connection with your inner essence. The area known as the dantian lies just beneath the navel. For women, it is the very place of the womb, the origin of life, of energy, and of feminine intuition. Place one of your hands there, whether left or right, it does not matter. Rest your palm gently on your lower abdomen, as though you were tenderly holding your womb, cradling it with gentleness and love. Begin to rub that area slowly, softly, with the warmth of your touch caressing your own body. As you touch, imagine that you are transmitting your energy into this place. From your hand, the very current of life force, begins to flow, entering the lower belly, spreading through the dantian. Each circular motion is a stream of energy flowing, and in this very act, you are healing your own belly, soothing it with the direct connection of your hands and your heart. You may also try pressing gently, applying a tender pressure to the belly to release the tightness that may still linger. With your eyes closed, your body itself will guide your hand to the exact place that calls out for release, the spot that longs to be touched. Trust that feeling. Let your hand arrive where it is needed and allow it to soften, to loosen, to relax. Can you feel the tension gradually dissolving? Your body begins to open, to be freed. Now once again, bring your two hands together, palms pressed against each other, joined as if you were gathering the entirety of your energy into one. Continue to breathe naturally, with no force. In your mind, envision a vast sphere of golden light slowly descending from above, entering through the crown of your head. This is the radiant golden light, a brilliance shimmering like countless rays of the universe's sun. Let this light pour down upon you. It is the primordial light, the direct current flowing from the great source of all creation. From that source, you are being gifted the purest healing energy, and this stream of golden brilliance awakens the process of profound healing within you. Feel the golden light penetrating through the crown of your head, flowing down into your forehead, then moving into your throat, through your chest, your lungs, your stomach, your belly, weaving through your intestines and traveling down all the way to the tips of your toes. The light does not stop there. It continues to spread outward, permeating your entire being, flooding even into the tips of your fingers, enveloping your whole self. This golden sphere of light weaves its way into every tiny blood vessel, into the finest capillaries, illuminating and nourishing your entire body from the inside out. At this moment, you may see yourself as a whole being of radiant golden light, glowing brilliantly, luminous and sacred, shining like a divine torch. Relax now, keeping your breath steady and gentle. Simply listen to its rhythm and feel how your body is completely enveloped in this sphere of golden light. You are resting within the embrace of the source, where everything is light, everything is love. This is the sacred space of healing where no limits exist, where you are cradled in the boundless compassion of the universe. When you were still a tiny soul, an innocent spirit not yet clothed in the body of this earthly realm, you once existed in another world, a realm of purity, overflowing with pristine energy. And now, in this very moment, you are merging again with the energy of that realm, returning to the primordial foundation of your own essence. In reconnecting with that origin, you will feel abundance, wholeness, and above all, a profound sense of safety, as though you are being held and protected in the arms of love and light. Although you once dwelled there, from the moment you arrived upon this earth, you began to walk through the realm of duality, a place where light and shadow coexist. Here you learned of fear, you tasted anxiety, you stepped into the lessons of heavy and complex emotions. Yet it is through this very journey that you came to know yourself more deeply. And still, at any moment, you may return, you may find your way back to that primordial environment of love and light. When you do, all of those limited, three-dimensional thoughts and emotions, the heaviness, the negativity, the worries, will be washed away, purified. Once more, you will be bathed in love and light, brought back to the state of nothingness, the state of silence, of purity, where nothing remains except serenity. Allow yourself to simply dissolve into that. Now, step into a moment of meditation. If, during this meditation, thoughts should arise, let them drift away, releasing them as though they were clouds floating across the sky. Bring your entire awareness back to your breath, sensing each inhalation, each exhalation. Let your mind open into emptiness, into stillness, free of all burdens. And then, when the time feels right, gently guide your consciousness back. Does it feel soothing? Even in just a brief minute, the difference it brings is unmistakable. Now then, if you are ready, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. Yes, welcome home. And here, in this state, I believe you are deeply connected with your own self, within a wave of energy that is calm, peaceful, and beautifully gentle. In this very moment, I wish to draw a card, to receive a suggestion, a message meant for you. And the card that appears is, Exchange Love. Try expressing your love. The message here is about the exchange of love. Not through fear, but through love itself. Allow love to be given and also to be received. Because what is coming, what is slowly shaping itself in the future, carries the key theme, reveal your love, express it. That is the suggestion, the inspiration for you to act upon. And here, I will not add anything more. I will not impose anything beyond this. Because the most important thing is this, what love will you choose to express? And what love will come forth to be revealed, to be offered to you? Everything is waiting for you to discover on your own. And then, the outcome will be a connection, a resonance, a true understanding that is formed. This is not confined only to romantic love. It goes far beyond that. It is the reflection of the universal law. Whatever you face, whatever you nurture with love, will respond to you with love in return. I see very clearly here that these things will become real, not merely thoughts or illusions, but actual events appearing in your life. Congratulations, for that is a beautiful gift, something truly precious to cherish. In addition, there is another message. From this point onward, you will gradually learn how to see everything from a broader, more expansive perspective. For instance, on days when things feel uncertain, when situations confuse you, when your emotions are stirred and unsettled, you will no longer be swept away so easily. Instead, you will say to yourself, I'm all right now. I know clearly that I am connected with myself, that I am choosing the right and most fitting path for me. So I can be at peace, reassured as I move forward. And it is precisely through this inner peace that you will open the door to living in a new world, a new phase filled with confidence and serenity. I can sense clearly that from here, significant shifts are destined to unfold in your life. And when such changes approach, somewhere deep in your subconscious, you may feel fear, you may feel uneasy about transformation. But when it truly arrives, you will realize, oh, so this is love. So there is nothing for me to worry about. So everything is truly all right. And gradually, you will dissolve that fear, leaving only steadiness and trust in its place. As for guidance, the card that presents itself is the Knight of Wands. This card symbolizes action, a strong spirit of adventure, the initiative to move forward with steps that are light yet full of determination. It advises you to nurture your dynamism, to open yourself to receive new experiences, and to let the energy of this forward motion carry you further. Here, this energy is closely aligned with the Chariot. Both bear the message of movement, of carrying yourself into a new space, embarking on a new journey. But here, there is a subtle point I need to emphasize. You do not have to force yourself to take action, nor do you need to pressure yourself with thoughts like, I must do this, or I have to step forward right now. No, you do not need to strain like that. In truth, the things you truly desire, the things that genuinely belong to you and align with your path, will naturally unfold. They will move forward in their own way. You don't have to push. They are already flowing within the current. For example, perhaps one day you are invited, hey, come join me in doing this, and in that very moment you feel, oh, that sounds exciting, I want to try. And so you join in naturally, not because you were forced, but because it resonates with your energy, because it aligns with the natural joy inside of you. That is exactly the spirit of the Knight of Wands, stepping forward with enthusiasm, with delight, with lightness and freedom, not out of pressure or compulsion. When you go back and forth, weighing this against that, planning this, projecting that, and eventually telling yourself it might be better not to go, or reasoning that a certain person will never change so there's no point, all of those spirals of thought only leave you more confused. What I want to stress is this. If you have been thinking too much and in the end all you feel is tiredness, then it is better not to take that step. When something is truly meant for you, you will feel it instantly through intuition, like a sudden flash of light inside you, making your heart tremble, making your soul rejoice with the sense of, oh, this is wonderful, I want to do it right away. And in that moment, you won't hesitate anymore, you will simply act. That is the accurate signal, and the card is telling you that only the things that bring that sense of joy and elation are the ones worth moving toward. Everything else, let time take care of it. Leave it to destiny. The past, the present, the future will all shift on their own. You only need to release and wait. Now, when it comes to the final outcome, the deck reveals another profound layer of meaning. Here appears the image of healing, of beauty, of tranquility. And the card that represents this is the Queen of Cups. This is the card of the awakening of creativity, of your imagination and intuition being stirred at a higher level. This means you will gradually begin to live more fully in harmony with your inner feminine, the soft, the gentle, the finely attuned, the receptive. And it is precisely that feminine energy which becomes the foundation for the new chapter of your journey. Beyond that, the message also reminds you that comfort, ease, and inner peace are the true answers to your uncertainties. This is the most complete embodiment of feminine energy, to nurture, to empathize, to embrace, and to heal. Of course, using reason to plan, to calculate, and to act is also important, and it cannot be denied that it holds a necessary place. Yet at the very core, your true essence is a soul that lives by feeling, by intuition far more than logic. This message is emphasized throughout the entire reading, from beginning to end. The current that the universe, the energy of the moon, and the subtle streams flowing from the stars are sending to you is the same. It all points to the fact that you are someone who lives by emotion, who perceives with a sensitive spirit. That is why you are so powerfully affected by the energies of the cosmos, of nature, of the lunar cycles, and all of these forces cause you to live in a way that is deeply guided by sensation, by heartfelt perception. However, there may have been times when you yourself denied that spiritual side, when you may have tried to resist it or to reject the mystical dimensions, telling yourself that you should not trust your intuition, that you should not believe in what cannot be proven by logic. But this reading comes as a gentle reminder that your essence is exactly that, keenly perceptive, intuitive, living by heart and instinct. And when you dare to admit this, when you dare to step into that flow, your path will shine brighter, become lighter, more joyous than it has ever been. Souls like yours are often the ones who, in past lives, had to endure harsh trials, perhaps having been victims during times of witch hunts, or having encountered deeply spiritual events that left behind imprints of fear, attachments, even manipulation of the mind, coercion of belief. For this reason, in the past or even in this very lifetime, you may have had unpleasant experiences tied to spirituality. For example, perhaps in your family, your parents may have been excessively superstitious about something or fanatically devoted to a rigid doctrine. And from those experiences, a misunderstanding, a distortion about spirituality may have formed, leaving behind a veil of fear in your heart. That very fear, together with that misunderstanding, may have led you to tell yourself that you do not want to, and should not, touch upon anything spiritual as a kind of protective mechanism. And yet, what I want to say here is that you do not need to force yourself either to admit it or to deny it. You absolutely do not have to pressure yourself to acknowledge anything. Because the truth is, your essence has always been one that lives honestly with your soul. And that, in itself, is the true meaning of spirituality, to live faithfully with your soul, to live in honesty with yourself, never betraying the deeper sensations within. If you are already living in such a way, then you do not need to label it as spirituality at all. There is no need to wrap it in a name. And if within you, you sometimes feel a slight discomfort when someone repeats the word spirituality, that is perfectly natural too. I myself have no desire to go out and preach spirituality, nor to turn it into a slogan to proclaim. No, that is not my intention. What I truly wish for is that each person can live authentically with themselves, to know how to listen inwardly, to connect with their own being. Because when each one of us can live in that state, that is when the most wonderful thing happens. When all of us are in true connection with ourselves, then this world will finally know peace, serenity, and the absence of meaningless conflict. That is what makes me want to share this message, not to persuade anyone to believe in spirituality. So, if someone denies it, even criticizes or opposes the concept of spirituality, that is completely fine. They have the right to do so. As long as you continue to live true to yourself, faithful to your feelings and to your soul, then you are still walking the right path. Perhaps when you meditate, when you close your eyes to connect with your breath and your inner depth, someone may look at you and think, "Oh, this seems strange, suspicious." But I want you to understand that it is not frightening nor bizarre. It is something utterly natural, something fundamentally human. In fact, most of those who follow me, those who walk alongside me, they have already been practicing such things in their own lives. And that is why I am not hesitant to practice and to share openly, because I know that this is genuine, not false. And you must also understand that these practices, whether meditation or any method of inner connection, are not frivolous nor suspicious, but deeply essential, touching the very core of human nature. They are not just techniques, they are gateways, doors that open into the truth within you. If I were to put it clearly, the most important thing is that you continually choose for yourself a way of living, a way of existing that truly brings comfort and ease to your soul. Have the courage to gradually let go of what does not bring you peace, the things that create stress, restriction, or the relationships and circumstances that weigh heavily upon your heart. The more you are able to do that, the more you follow the rhythm within you, the more you will feel your inner world being filled, nourished bit by bit, becoming whole and abundant. And it is in that very moment that your imagination and your hidden creative power will be opened, liberated more and more. What you once thought you could not create, could not express, within this new flow you will find you absolutely can. That is the current now arriving, the current the cards are guiding you toward. I also clearly sense that you already carry within yourself a very special gift. Many of you here not only possess spiritual capacity, but even in your material life, in the physical world, you have already achieved certain successes, holding positions, having influence. But at the same time, you also hold a subtler ability, one that may be called spiritual, the ability to connect, to feel deeply, to empathize, and to guide. And because of this, I want you to boldly release it, not to suppress or hide it away. For when someone of influence, someone whose voice is heard in the community, chooses to use that voice to speak of what is true, of what belongs to the essence, then you can become a guiding light, illuminating the path, helping others to awaken, to find their way back to themselves as well. Therefore, what truly matters does not lie in what others may think of you, nor in how they may judge you. What truly matters is who you want to become, how you genuinely wish to live. When you are honest with yourself at that point, all the answers will naturally reveal themselves, all the knots will effortlessly be untied. And so, even the decisions you make are reflections of the authentic desires from the deepest layer of your soul. They are not merely superficial choices, but things you truly long for, sincerely yearn for at the soul level. And perhaps you have already made such decisions, whether in the days just past or even right now in this very moment. Those decisions, the doors you are opening, are all leading you toward a future overflowing with love and light. They are doors that guide you into abundance, into richness, not only in the material realm, but also in the spirit, in the soul, in the serenity of life. This is a message of blessing, like a gentle pat on the shoulder from the universe, whispering, "You are walking the right path, keep going forward, and congratulations to you." I sense that deep within, you already know the answer for yourself, as though your inner intuition has whispered it to you long before. And so this reading may feel a little suggestive, a little beyond the usual framework, and I hope you will receive it with openness and understanding. I will bring the reading for those of you who chose pile 1 to a close here. If you enjoyed this message, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support by giving this video a like. Your encouragement is a great source of strength for me to continue bringing new readings to you. If there was something in this reading that made your heart resonate, I would be so glad if you could leave a comment or even a small symbol to let me know the message has touched you. I always look forward to reading your thoughts, so don't hesitate to share what you feel. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this video. I look forward to seeing you again in the next readings. Hello to those of you who chose pile 2. Thank you for waiting. Now I will begin the reading for those who selected the second pile. I hope this reading will bring you healing, new awareness, and moments filled with love. With the theme being what is about to be decided, what will soon come to resolution, the first card that appears is the Magician, but it comes in the reversed position. Then, looking further, the next card is a Sword card, also reversed. These cards are showing me that the important matter approaching, the thing you will decide, or what is destined to be decided, is the establishment of a firm resolve within your inner self. In other words, this is the time when you truly make a definitive choice in your heart, a decision tied to a deep preparation of spirit. And when you make that choice, what will follow? The spread reveals something akin to a reset, like a brand new beginning. It is not necessarily a slow, methodical, step-by-step kind of beginning, but rather a leap, a sudden dive, as though you are unexpectedly urged to jump in right away, to act at once in response to what your emotions are telling you. This message suggests that it may be something you once thought would happen much later, or that you still needed to wait a long time for. Yet, suddenly, it arises sooner than expected, and you yourself will be the one to act, to step forward and set this flow in motion. On the inner plane, I sense that you are still somewhat closed off, holding back, as if there is a door in your heart that you have not fully opened. This feeling makes you reserved, a little distant, reluctant to let others truly touch your heart. But when I turn to the next card, I see the image of the Empress. This is the card that embodies love, compassion, kindness, gentleness, and the strength of the motherly spirit. It shows me that, around you now, the people present in your life, whether it is a lover, a partner, a family member, close friends, or even colleagues, all of them are sending you the energy of love, of care, of embrace. They truly love you. They sincerely wish to give you the best. And it does not stop there. The energy of the Empress also shows that surrounding you right now is an atmosphere of creativity, of fertile strength. This is an energy that brings both a sense of safety and the promise of growth, like a seed germinating, beginning to sprout, then expanding and spreading endlessly. I see a current of gentleness, of nurturing and encouragement flowing around you, allowing you to slowly open your heart, to gradually step into a new phase without fear. And it is precisely this current, this support and uplift from those around you, that becomes the foundation for you to reset your journey, so you may continue forward with steadiness and with hope. I sense that for your person, within this relationship, they are feeling content, experiencing a certain fulfillment, and in their heart they are already sketching a vision of the future with you. The card that appears in the position of your past is one that represents stability, a solid foundation that had once been built. Following that comes the Six of Wands, a card carrying the message of victory, of good news, of the joy and pride that arises after overcoming a challenge and receiving recognition. This reflects the emotional state you are holding in the present. Within you is a sense of happiness, of pride, of motivation that is pushing you forward. Yet, alongside this brightness, there also appears the card representing the shadow aspect, the moon. The moon often brings forth images of uncertainty, of ambiguity, and it also speaks of the worries that weave through your soul. At present, you may be carrying much unease, as though you are standing in a half-lit, half-shadowed scene, unable to clearly see the road ahead. Perhaps you are concealing your true feelings, unable to speak them out, unable to fully express yourself. Or perhaps you are in a state where the future feels hazy, leaving you confused and unsure of direction. You may feel caught in between, in an unclear situation as though standing at a crossroads, not knowing which path to take. It may even be that you are facing something that demands a decision, but you yourself are still hesitant, still uncertain, not yet ready to make a definitive choice. That is likely why in this reading the theme of decision arises, as a reminder that you are either about to, or need to, make an important choice. And yet, when I look more deeply into your emotions, the cards seem to offer a paradox. On one hand, the moon suggests obscurity and anxiety. On the other, the stabilizing cards affirm that you are managing to hold a rather firm ground, perhaps even focusing actively on the brighter side of the situation. This makes me feel that you possess a strong ability to transform circumstances. Even when challenges surround you, even when others might look at your situation and think, "Oh, that must be so stressful, so hard to endure," you find the positive. You shift your perspective to glimpse the light shining through the darkness. It is precisely this approach, choosing to see the good, that has enabled you to keep moving forward without collapsing. In particular, I see that within the past year, or even the past 6 months, you have made significant efforts to construct a solid foundation for yourself. Whether in relationships, in work, or in the pursuits you are tirelessly devoted to, you have strived to keep everything balanced, steady, and grounded. The image of 4 wands, 4 pillars, tells me that you are diligently setting up the supports that will hold your life. You do not allow yourself to lean on a single factor. You do not let everything tip to one side. On the contrary, you are determined to build your life like an architecture of strength, with 4 equal columns, both secure and harmonious. This reveals that you are working with great effort to enrich your inner world, to elevate your self-worth, and to keep your life growing in a balanced way, neither one-sided nor extreme. In other words, you possess both the patience and perseverance to build and the inner strength to transform challenges into opportunities. And because of this, even if at present you may feel uncertain or anxious, in truth you are walking upon a foundation that has been steadily nurtured over time, and this very foundation will soon become the launch pad that carries you toward stability, toward triumph, and toward a clearer future. Happiness, blessing, and fulfillment, these are the energies the card is reflecting back. I sense that some of you here have recently passed through important milestones in life, such as entering into marriage, officially starting a family, or perhaps reaching a solid point of stability in your everyday living. For some, this has manifested as financial security, with income becoming more steady, more reliable, allowing you a deeper sense of reassurance. Because of this, in the realm of love and emotional life, there also appears the energy of stability, of feeling sheltered, protected, and at peace. Yet at the same time, I also see that in the present moment you may be facing a situation that leaves you confused, hesitant, unsure of which direction to take. What is striking, though, is that when I look into the energy of your surrounding environment, I see nothing but love, compassion, safety, and stability. This means you are surrounded by positive people and circumstances, and you yourself are radiating, transmitting the frequency of that stability outward. Because of this, you have been and continue to draw good things toward you. And yet, alongside this, the spread reveals that an unexpected event may have occurred, something of a turning point. It feels like a dramatic incident, a small shock or upheaval that nonetheless shook you enough to change your perspective. I noticed that around August 9th, There was a full moon, and the cards emphasized that this was indeed a moment of energetic transition, a significant curve in the flow. For some of you, it may have been around this very time that a dramatic event, an unexpected happening, came forth, compelling you to face it and stirring you deeply. Yet what I see clearly is that even though this event occurred, you did not collapse. On the contrary, you recovered swiftly, rising with resilience, as though out of the turbulence a new light was suddenly ignited. Perhaps you endured a shock, but immediately after, the universe placed another experience in your path to balance it out, to soften the weight, to ensure you would not remain submerged in pain for too long. And from that very moment, you discovered once more a spark of joy, a renewal of energy, a luminous current that awakened you, that helped you shine once again. But beneath all of this, the cards still reveal that you are in a state of hesitation, of having to choose, of confronting the very things that leave you wavering. Perhaps these are matters that have stretched on for some time, things you have pondered over again and again, replaying in your mind whether to do this or that, whether to go in one direction or another, caught in that tug of war without finding a resolution. And now it seems that the flow of energy has placed before you a situation in which you must decide, or at the very least, you are being pushed into a circumstance where a choice can no longer be delayed. It is not necessarily that you want to decide immediately, but rather that circumstances have aligned in such a way that postponement is no longer possible. And here, an additional message shines forth with great emphasis: independence. And not only independence in the material sense, but more profoundly, independence of the soul, independence of the emotions. The cards show that you are in a stage of pulling yourself away from what you once relied upon, once clung to, once depended on. This is the time for you to learn how to free yourself from attachment, to release those old handholds, and to stand tall on your own 2 feet. It is the courage to walk away from what no longer fits, the strength to believe in yourself and take steps forward. This is the very threshold you are now crossing, a significant turning point, a moment that marks true maturity and genuine independence of the spirit. I sense that perhaps in recent times there has been someone or something that appeared and shook you, unsettled you, as though an external influence had come and struck your heart. It might have been the words of someone, an action, or an unexpected event that left you confused, knocking you off balance emotionally. Yet all of this, in truth, is simply a part of the natural flow. It arrives as a link in the chain of your journey, as though the universe itself had arranged it for you to pass through. And the message here is crystal clear. This is the right time. This is divine guidance, the unseen hand of the universe, the voice of your higher soul calling out to you. The truest essence, the deepest voice within your heart, is rising now to lead you forward. What is about to happen is not accidental. It is exactly what, deep within your soul, you have long desired, and now it is on its way to becoming real. All of your past experiences, even those that left you weary, lost, or shaken, have truly been like a rite of passage, a test, a baptism preparing you to step through a new doorway. And I see within you a rising, powerful longing, the longing to release, the longing for liberation. You no longer wish to remain trapped in hesitation, no longer want to stand between 2 lines being pulled back and forth. Within you, a resolve has already formed. I will not turn back. I will not repeat the old cycles. I will not allow myself to remain stuck anymore. This is a clear determination, a decisive choice to move forward. So then, what exactly is taking shape? What is about to become a decision? The card reveals it very clearly. It is you, deep within yourself, who will make this decision. And that decision is tied to the message of the 5 of Ariel. You can overcome challenges. You can free yourself from the whirlwind of other people's drama through the strength of your own inner power and with the right support around you. This means you have realized that you no longer want to be drawn into someone else's script. You no longer wish to live inside the story imposed upon you by others. You no longer want to remain dependent or controlled. You want to rise, to step away from those influences, and to choose to live your own life. The energy being transmitted here is powerful. You are seeking to assert yourself, to trust in your inner strength, and to begin taking action. And most importantly, this time you truly have gathered the determination, the courage, and the clarity of mind to do so. The card further suggests that this decision will not remain only in the realm of the spiritual, but it will manifest concretely in reality. It carries the energy of the masculine, the energy of action, reason, and initiative. Specifically, this may mean you will make a significant decision regarding your work, perhaps accepting a new position, beginning an important project, or boldly standing up to start your own business. It may also point to a life change, such as moving to a new home, choosing to live alone, or creating a living environment that is entirely independent. All of these messages circle around one core: believe in yourself. This is the moment for you to learn how to let go of what no longer serves you, to step away from reliance on others, and to affirm your inner strength through real, tangible action. The universe is urging you. Trust in yourself. Walk forward on your own 2 feet. And when you dare to do that, the new path will open before you. I also see that up until now, throughout your life, there have always been people around you, bringing you love, care, and support. The cards show clearly that you have been and still are loved by many, that you hold good relationships, that there are many hands willing to reach out to lift you when you stumble. But looking deeper, another layer of emotion emerges. Perhaps within you there has long existed a belief, a deeply rooted fear, that without someone, without the presence of a particular important person, you could not survive, you could not go on. At times you may have thought that you lacked the strength, that you could only exist if there were someone by your side to hold you, to guide you. Because of this, you have been prone to dependence, easily slipping into the feeling that you need them, that without them you would not know how to manage. And indeed, you have always been someone who is loved deeply, and so it is natural that you often receive help, care, and attention. Yet at the same time, when you rely too much on others, when you tie your life too closely to the presence of someone else, then the moment that person experiences upheaval, inevitably your own life is also shaken, pulled along with their changes. In this way, you constantly feel that your life depends on their circumstances, that you are influenced, swayed each time they shift. In other words, if you allow yourself to remain dependent, placing your trust and your very sense of survival in another person, then you will never have the chance to truly test the strength that resides within you. And it is precisely this that has placed you time and again in situations where you could not fully express yourself, could not fully bring forth your own potential. The message being emphasized here is clear. This is the time for you to step into the path of independence. The events arriving now are not random. They are necessary turning points that compel you to choose, to decide, and to act. Everything that is unfolding is guiding you toward maturity, towards standing on your own 2 feet. I sense strongly that this is a phase the universe has arranged for you, to challenge you, to force you to release dependence so that you can affirm your own strength and identity. Looking deeper, I see very distinct cards, one that represents strong love, deep emotions, the image of a bear holding love in its embrace. This is a love of great impact, a powerful bond, yet within it also lies the aspect of dominance, of control. Then comes the Four of Pentacles in reverse, alongside another card that also symbolizes control, possession, influence. The fact that 2 cards appear with meanings tied to control reveals that, in recent times, there truly has been someone, or perhaps even a group of people, who have exerted control over you, who have left a profound mark on you. And this influence extends not only over your actions, but also into your thoughts, your heart, and the very way you perceive the world. This may come from a romantic relationship, where you once became caught in the spiral of control and dominance. It could also come from family, where parents or relatives, knowingly or unknowingly, impose their beliefs, shaping your life within their framework. And for some of you, this influence even reflects in your work environment, where a superior or colleagues have held a certain power over you, leaving you no choice but to live and act under their control. All of the messages in this reading converge into a single core truth. You are passing through a phase where dependence, control, and living for others must come to an end. The universe is urging you to look directly at this, to release it, to grow, and to begin standing on your own, to begin mastering your own life. And it is in this very moment that the true strength within you will be set free. I sense that throughout the past period, you belonged to an organization, an environment, or a relationship where you did not truly have complete freedom to own your life. There was always the presence of a form of control. Though control may sound heavy, it was more of an influence, a restraint. Indeed, there was a person, or perhaps a group, who attempted to direct you, to guide you toward the path they desired. And I can also see that their initial intention was not necessarily bad. In fact, it may have come from love, from the desire to protect you, to shelter you. Yet love, when coupled with imposition and control, turns into a burden, and that very weight is what bound you and stripped away your freedom. Now, the spread is showing that you have reached a turning point, a threshold where new freedom is about to unfold. An important decision will arise, and this decision is directly tied to breaking free from this control, from this restraint that has followed you for so long. If this pertains to your work environment, Perhaps you have been in one position for many years, protected, stable to a certain degree, yet simultaneously denied the chance to soar higher. And now you are considering, or have already decided, to step away from that place, to embark on a new challenge, a fresh journey where you are the one in charge. It could also mean that a new job, a new opportunity, is approaching, one where you will no longer be confined by the old frameworks that held you back. In your personal life, this message may point to an intimate relationship. Perhaps you have been with someone for a long time, cherished and cared for by them, yet at the same time bound with independence. And now, the time has come to let go, to step into independence, to begin a life built upon your own foundation. The spread also speaks of the awakening of the masculine energy within you. For some, this masculine force has always been strong, while for others, it had lain dormant beneath dependence, yet now it is rising. It is the energy that grants you decisiveness, strength, trust in yourself, and the ability to take the lead in your own life. In other words, you are stepping into a new phase, one where you will learn to trust yourself, to use your inner strength to make decisions, to venture forward, to challenge yourself, and to grow. This is the true essence of who you are, the authentic self that the cards are urging you to embrace. For example, you may once have been someone who did not work, relying solely on another, but now you will begin your own work, build your own career. Or you may receive a new job, a new role, a new challenge where you will stand firmly on your own 2 feet. And even though there may still be hesitation within you, lingering feelings of not being entirely ready, not fully settled emotionally, this current is still pushing you forward, whispering insistently, the time has come, you must move ahead. The most important truth that this spread affirms is that all the decisions lying before you are centered around the theme of independence. You will be placed in situations where you must choose, where you must release what clings to you, where you must step away from what keeps you dependent. Everything necessary for you to believe in yourself, to summon the courage to begin this new, testing journey, is gradually revealing itself and taking shape in your life. And that is the very path of liberation, the turning point that allows you to step into true maturity, into the stage where you live the life that is entirely your own. I feel very clearly that in matters of love, you are moving into a stage where your love will no longer take the form of surrendering yourself entirely to the other person, no longer the kind of love where you let the other lead, control, or decide everything. Instead, your love will transform into an active love, one where you hold the guiding role, where you are the one steering, where you live the relationship with your own strength, with your will, and with your self-mastery. This marks an important transition, showing that from now on, not only in love, but also in work, in career, in projects, and in every domain of life, you are stepping out of dependency and moving toward independence. Independence and self-sovereignty, these are the core themes the cards are emphasizing. Of course, I understand that some of you hearing this message may think, but I was never dependent on anyone. I have always lived independently. And yes, perhaps you truly have not clung to any particular person or thing. But when this message arises, it carries a deeper implication. It is saying that now is the time for you to learn how to trust completely in yourself, to place absolute trust in your choices, your intuition, and your strength. This is not just a story about no longer depending on others. It is the story of you realizing, with full confidence, that you yourself are the refuge, you yourself are the guide. I also see that there may be things you have pursued for a long time, beliefs you once devoted yourself to wholeheartedly, values you once thought were the only truth, the only righteous path. You followed them with all your heart, you trusted them fully. Yet now, you are beginning to feel something shift. There is a voice inside you whispering, this no longer feels right for me. You sense a misalignment, an awkwardness, a lack of harmony. And it is precisely this discomfort, this dissonance, that will awaken you, that will make you realize it is time to let go, to set down what no longer fits. You release it not because it is wrong, but because it no longer resonates with your soul as it is now. In the position of guidance, the Page of Cups appears reversed. This card carries a warning about the tendency to depend, about being easily swept into the current of others, easily carried away without firm grounding. It reflects a state of instability, as if you are standing in the middle of a whirlpool without finding anything solid to hold on to. But precisely because it appears in the position of advice, the message being sent to you is this: look at the things you once believed you could not live without, the person you thought you could not exist without, or the condition you thought, if lost, would make you collapse. All of those old beliefs, all of those bindings you once built for yourself, they will begin to dissolve. And you do not need to forcefully fight them, because they will naturally fall away, they will naturally fade from your life as though they no longer have a place there. This spread is sending you the message that the things you once depended upon will naturally drift away, and you will step into a new state, a state where you are free, where you are sovereign, where you live by the power of your own inner strength. You will no longer need to cling tightly to anyone or anything in order to feel safe, because that safety will now come from within you, from an unshakable trust in yourself. And that is precisely the moment when you truly mature, when you finally live in alignment with your most authentic self. I can sense very clearly that along with all of your recent experiences, you are gradually reaching a point of inner establishment, a firm resolve, a defining choice. Perhaps soon, an event or a catalyst will emerge to become the turning point, the push that compels you to make a decisive choice. And when I drew further to explore what has led to this shift, the Emperor appeared in reverse, leaping from the deck as a powerful message. The Emperor, in its upright form, is the card of strength, authority, leadership, discipline, and governing energy. But when reversed, it no longer represents steady protection. Instead, it becomes control, imposition, even manipulation. What I see here is that there has been a person or a force with significant power over you. This could have been a superior at work, a figure of authority, a partner, or even a family member, anyone who once held a dominant role in your life. And in one way or another, they influenced you, directed your thinking, shaped your actions, and even reached deep enough to affect your innermost emotions. It resembles a kind of psychological manipulation, causing you, often unconsciously, to become the one who obeys, the one who follows, rather than making choices that were truly your own. Yet the Emperor appearing reversed signifies that the veil is now falling. Doubt is beginning to stir within you. You are starting to ask yourself, do I truly fit within this environment? Is this really the place I belong? Do the values, the principles, the pursuits of those in control still align with who I am? In the past, you may have accepted everything, thinking it was fine, believing that going along with it would bring you peace. But now you have glimpsed the shadows. You have touched the truth behind the curtain. Perhaps you witnessed an action, an event, or perhaps it was simply a sudden awakening within your spirit, making you realize, so all this time I have been under their influence. So all this time something was never truly aligned with me. This message also emphasizes that it is precisely because you are now surrounded by love, by a warm and nurturing environment, that you have been given the chance to recognize what is not love. It is because you are living within the energy of genuine affection, because you are standing among people who truly cherish and value you, that you can gradually distinguish the difference between protection and control. And it is that very real love, whether it comes from new friends, positive relationships, or simply from the act of loving yourself, that has become the mirror reflecting back to you, illuminating where imposition lies, where hidden control has existed without your awareness until now. I see this as a powerful moment of awakening for you, a moment where true love itself unmasks what is not love. You are now in an environment overflowing with compassion, and it is exactly this abundance of care that allows you to face, to clearly see, and to finally release the relationships and the old bindings that once held you captive. And from here, you begin to move toward a profound determination to live as your true self, to live in freedom, and to never again allow anyone or anything to impose its will upon your life. What I want to say is that there are people who, even when they are proclaiming beautiful ideals, standing up with the intention to contribute to the world, to offer their strength to the community, still carry within them two very different streams of energy. There are those who are truly pure, utterly genuine, who act from a heart filled with goodwill, simply wanting to bring goodness into the world, to the lives of others. But there are also those who, even if they began from an innocent place, over time become swept away by the need for recognition, by the desire to be praised, to be admired as a hero, a symbol, a central figure in the story. And from there, their ego begins to rise, the craving for attention awakens, and with it the hunger for power, the urge to control, to dominate, to exert influence over others. Often, in the beginning, they are like everyone else, walking forward with a simple and sincere heart. But gradually, when they receive veneration, when they are placed high upon a pedestal, they can easily become a figure almost like a guru, a spiritual leader, someone whom others look up to with awe. And once in that position, it is hard to resist the pull, the desire to hold authority, to have everything flow according to their will, to make others act under their command. This is why, at times, even within a group, an organization, a company, or a person whom you once believed to be pure, whom you trusted wholeheartedly, you may begin to discern the shadows behind them. You may have once thought they were wonderful, truly admirable, but then there comes a moment when you start to see the other side, to glimpse what had been hidden, what you never noticed before. The important truth to understand here is that seeing this other side, perceiving the reality behind the curtain, does not mean that the person is wholly bad. For every human being carries within them a measure of ego. Everyone has moments when the self asserts itself. It is nearly impossible to avoid, because that is the nature of humanity. When one is praised, when one is exalted, when one constantly hears words like, "You are brilliant," "You are extraordinary," inevitably, within the heart, there arises a trace of pride, a sense of self-satisfaction, a joy born from being acknowledged. And this is the greatest trial for those who walk this path, how to keep their hearts pure, how not to let power, admiration, or the worship of others harden into chains that bind and ensnare their very being. I sense that there may come a moment when within you stirs a subtle but undeniable feeling, a quiet doubt rising just enough to make you ask yourself, is there something that does not feel right here? Could it be that things are not entirely as I once believed them to be? This does not necessarily mean that the people around you must have a hidden shadow side, nor does it mean that you are about to uncover some dark secret about them. No, the message that this spread conveys leans much more toward your own inner world, toward the beliefs you once carried, toward the things in which you placed your faith almost blindly. For example, perhaps there was a method, a habit, something you believed to be absolutely good. Someone recommended it to you, you followed, you applied it. It could have been a diet, a drink, a practice, or even a spiritual belief. And then gradually, you began to form within yourself the sense that without it, you would not be okay. Without it, you would lose balance. That feeling became like an invisible tether, a subtle dependence. Yet eventually there comes a time when you realize, in truth, it does not have to be this way. In truth, I am fully capable of living well without needing to rely on this. Perhaps deep down you already knew it was not completely aligned, but you kept pushing forward, kept holding on because you believed it was necessary. And now you're beginning to see the truth that you do not need to endure, you do not need to force yourself to follow it anymore. In a broader sense, this is also the era in which hidden truths in the world are gradually being revealed. The curtains are being lifted and humanity is given more opportunities to see more clearly what truly lies behind. For you, this unveiling is not by chance, it is part of a much greater flow, carrying profound meaning. It grants you the chance to awaken, the chance to see through those things and those people that once held powerful influence over you. Those individuals or circumstances that you once believed to be absolutely right, absolutely good, now suddenly appear under a different light. You begin to perceive their true nature, and that very realization becomes the turning point that allows you to break free from dependency, to step into a greater maturity. Yet the cards also remind us not to view everything in a single dimension. Those people who once influenced you, even those whose hidden sides you are now beginning to see, are not entirely bad in essence. When I look deeper, when I see the cards symbolizing passion and devotion, I understand that these individuals, too, have poured their emotions, their love, and their energy wholeheartedly into what they believed in. From one perspective, they have truly carried a sincere heart, a genuine dedication. When the card bearing the image of the lion appeared, I felt it even more strongly. This is a forceful, powerful, fiery energy, passionate and intense, yet one that can also become overwhelming if not brought into balance. That person, or that group, is acting from a place of love, from a conviction they deeply believe to be right. Their heart is brimming with feeling, and they pour their entire strength into it. Yet precisely because their love is so intense, their faith so absolute, at times it transforms into chains, into imposition, making others, and you as well, feel confined, restricted, even trapped. The important point is that you are entering the stage of truly seeing this for what it is. You are beginning to discern what is pure love and what is attachment disguised under the name of love. And this recognition is the very first step toward your true freedom, the moment when you begin to master yourself, while still holding on to compassion and understanding for those who once gave everything for their ideals. I sense that sometimes there are people who, because they believe so firmly in something, because they are convinced this is the best, the most correct way, carry within them a forceful energy, an almost urgent assertiveness. They are inclined to insist, this is truly the best thing, you should try it, surely you too will see how good it is. And perhaps you yourself have once believed them, once thought, surely that must be right, and so you followed, you kept it up for quite a long time. Yet I feel the true essence of this person is not bad at all. In truth, within them burns a flame of passion and ardent vitality, and alongside that is feeling an immense love they hold for you. This is someone who carries a deep affection, a wholehearted devotion toward you. That is why their actions, their words, have come from the desire to see you well, from the love they carry for you, rather than from malice. The card bearing the image of the bear also appears here, a symbol of protective love, unconditional love, the love of a mother, of nurturing and sheltering. It makes clear that this person truly cares, that they genuinely love you, that they may even harbor a love that is vast, tender, and deeply generous. They have done everything with the belief, this will surely be good for you. I want you to be safe, to be happy. And much like how parents often treat their children, sometimes loving so intensely that they unconsciously turn that love into imposition, into a desire to control, so too has this person acted. But the core truth to understand here is this: they're only human. And when you recognize that, when you are able to see both their light and their shadow, you will find a way to hold compassion, to create a renewed bond, and perhaps even to draw closer together, with more honesty and more heartfelt sincerity within this relationship. However, the most important message remains this: you no longer need to depend. You no longer need to lean entirely on this person. Now, you have reached the stage where you can fully trust yourself, trust enough to live an independent life, to stand firmly on your own feet. Their love is still there, their care is still there, but you no longer have to exist in the state of attachment or reliance. You are strong enough, wise enough, to guide yourself forward. And I also want to add that even this reading itself, what I share here, should only be regarded as a perspective, a suggestion, a stream of inspiration for you to reflect upon. It is not the whole truth, nor should it ever be something you must depend on absolutely. Much like that relationship, reliance is not inherently bad, but when you learn to recognize that everything is only a piece, only a suggestion, only one way of seeing, you become freer, more steady, and still able to receive love, still able to welcome care from others without losing the essence of who you are. If something, a habit, a person, a connection, is genuinely giving you strength, feeding you with energy and motivation to walk your path, then there is nothing wrong with that at all. It is still good, still useful. But what you must pay special attention to, what is the most crucial point never to overlook, is this: when inside you begins to arise the thought that without it you cannot survive, that without it you will not be able to continue, that is the danger. That is the trap of dependency. So what the cards want to emphasize here is this: you can trust in your inner knowing. When you truly believe in your intuition and your inner power, everything is fine. Everything will certainly be fine. And I rarely use words like certain or absolute because they are such definitive terms, but this time I want to use that very word with precision to send to you. As long as you believe in yourself, then surely, absolutely, you will be fine. I want you to listen carefully to that you must trust yourself. Everything I do, every reading I offer, every word I speak, at its deepest purpose is only meant to serve as a pretext, a small anchor, or a gentle hand upon your shoulder to encourage you, to help you find a greater faith in yourself. That is all. So if at times I say something with all my passion, with all my care, even urging you sincerely to go this way, to take that path, you need not feel pressured or heavy with it. If it does not touch your heart, if it does not make you feel resonance or harmony, then let it pass, let it drift away. It is perfectly fine. The most important thing, the most precious truth of all, is that you must place your entire trust within yourself. Because when you place your trust in yourself, you will gradually come to see that the very things in your life which once drained your strength, which once left you shaken and doubtful of your own confidence, whether it was a particular person or a group, or an organization, or even the very environment in which you lived, all of these things were never absolute, never truly right for you. You will realize, so these things no longer fit me. They no longer align with who I am. And that very moment of recognition is the moment of your liberation. When you see that truth, when you are lucid enough to perceive that difference, you will also grow stronger in making your choices. You will dare to be more decisive. You will dare to choose your own path. And perhaps, for some of you, in the past you had a long period of leaning on someone, relying on them, allowing them to become the very source of your spirit. That was not wrong, because in that particular time, their presence, their support, was truly necessary for you. It helped you stand. It helped you move through an important passage. But the future none of us can know in advance, and everything can change. And it is exactly now, as you are learning how to trust yourself, that you are standing at the threshold of a new journey, a journey in which you no longer need to depend, no longer need to cling, but can stride forward steadily on the strength of your own inner power. Perhaps in your heart, you may feel that you are not yet fully ready, not yet prepared, whether in spirit or in the conditions surrounding you. It may seem as though too many things are still unfinished, still out of rhythm, still unsettled. Yet the cards show a very vivid image. You will leap, you will throw yourself forward, you will not remain a bystander, but you will choose to step in. For in the end, the image that shines most clearly is of you daring to hurl yourself into it, daring to test your strength, daring to cross that threshold. What this means is that even though right now you may still waver, still hesitate between choices, or even if you tell yourself there is nothing really to question, the deeper truth within you has already been decided. And the cards also highlight one crucial state. Within you there is calm, a growing sense of tranquility, clarity, and serenity, as pure and clear as the blue that shines in the card. It is that calmness which becomes your foundation, so that you are no longer bewildered, no longer lost. All choices have already been sealed, and what remains is simply for you to follow through with the decision you have already made. No need to look back, no need to doubt, only to walk the path you have chosen. I sense that you are someone with a pure soul, a heart that is luminous and profoundly untainted, a heart that is beautiful in its innocence and sincerity. And it is precisely because of this purity that when you meet someone and feel, oh, this person is truly wonderful, truly special, you tend to want to take in everything from them. You want to absorb, to learn, to receive it all. And there is nothing wrong with this. In fact, it is deeply precious. Because once you allow yourself to embrace fully, once you permit yourself to experience wholeheartedly, then through that very process you gradually come to realize, there are indeed things that do not belong to me. There are differences. There are parts where I do not resonate. And in those moments, you will know naturally how to release them, how to let go of what does not fit. Truly, I believe there is nothing in this world that cannot teach us something, nothing we must categorically reject without ever engaging. Even when something may not ultimately be right for you, as long as you give yourself the chance to experience, to learn, you will then come to discern what truly aligns, what is worth keeping, and which parts are not in harmony, those, in their own time, will simply fall away. They will naturally dissolve from your being. Once you have absorbed and walked through the experience, whatever does not belong will gently slip away. And so, receiving, learning, remaining open, this is always worthwhile, always part of the path. This also means that you need not worry when it comes to interacting or connecting with anyone. No matter what kind of people you meet, even those who at first might make you anxious that they could bring a negative influence, or cause you to fear that their presence will tire you still, even within such connections, there is reason, there is meaning. Every relationship that appears carries within it a purpose, a value, a lesson. And that is why, at times, you may find yourself drawn toward people whom you think, at first glance, you should not be, people you sense carry heavy energy. Yet the truth is, that very attraction is also part of your journey of learning. It is also a sign guiding you to understand yourself more deeply, to recognize your limits, your choices, and the ways in which you are maturing, evolving, and growing into who you are meant to become. Therefore, the message here shows that in the near future there will be a shift, a movement, a change that carries the essence of liberation for you, as though something will open up, loosening the knots of energy that have restrained you for so long. Yet at the same time, I also sense a very distinct strength within you. For in truth, even if you are within a relationship, it seems that this person is someone you deeply respect, someone you even feel proud to walk alongside. They may be a role model, someone who makes you feel that your own worth is heightened when you are by their side. However, what the cards point out is not separation, not a story of collapse or departure, but rather the process of you learning how to set healthy boundaries for yourself. It is like you are drawing a line, saying to yourself and also to the other person, up to this point, I can accept. Up to this point, I am willing to harmonize. But beyond that boundary, I cannot allow myself to be led. I cannot allow myself to be swept away completely by another. This is an affirmation of your self-worth, of your dignity, and also the way in which you safeguard your own inner strength. And then, perhaps it is within this very journey that you suddenly recognize another facet, a fresh perspective on the person you once revered, once admired so greatly. You begin to see another side of them, a truth you had not perceived before. And that moment awakens you. So this is how it is. There are aspects that are not entirely what I had once believed. This recognition is not exactly disappointment, but more like a spark of awakening, a touch that makes you realize you do not have to dissolve entirely into that person, that you have your own path, your own independence. In fact, this brings to mind a very recent conversation I had with a friend before conducting this reading. She had just shared with me that she too experienced such an awakening, a moment as if her eyes had suddenly opened wide when she saw the truth about someone she had once placed so much trust in. And it was precisely through that awakening that she found herself again, that she reclaimed the strength she had always carried within her. I feel that for you, and for many others listening to this reading, in one way or another, you may also be moving through a similar process, a reawakening, a reevaluation of a relationship or circumstance, and through that rediscovery, you find again the core power within yourself. And furthermore, when I drew an additional card to clarify what will ultimately be decided, the message became even clearer. It shows that you will move forward with a deliberate distance, that you will know how to maintain your balance, that you will no longer be swept away blindly. You may become more cautious, more thoughtful in the way you approach this situation and this relationship. And this caution is not to shut things down or to block them, but to protect you, to help you maintain your own center, to keep a healthy distance that ensures you do not lose yourself. The message here shows that you are being called to observe, to listen, and to follow the unfolding of events slowly, step by step. In terms of relationships, this may signify that you will gradually close the distance with someone, or you may choose to watch carefully to see how that relationship, that person, or that situation truly operates. This is about caution, about adopting a stance of attentiveness, not rushing forward, but moving in rhythm with the natural flow, allowing things to reveal themselves in their own time. And then I notice another detail emerging here, as the Magician appears reversed. This card signifies immaturity, something not yet fully developed, something still in its infancy, still at the beginning stage, not yet ripened. This energy suggests to me that ahead of you lies a situation entirely different, a development you had not once imagined. Perhaps there will be a shift that comes with surprise, something unfamiliar, something unexpected that reshapes the course you envisioned. I also felt drawn to consult a few Lenormand cards for greater clarity, and here the cloud appears. And immediately following it, the sun reveals itself, one of the most powerful cards in all of Lenormand. The sun carries the energy of truth, of illumination, of clarity, of honor, and of success. Alongside it, the cloud speaks of waiting, of temporary obscurity, of a mist that covers the view and demands patience. This message clearly shows that what is forming in your life is intimately tied to you stepping onto the main stage, to you standing at the very center where all eyes turn toward you. This is a striking symbol of success, of recognition, of radiant energy bursting forth. It tells us that when you truly awaken, when you come to realize your authentic self, your talent and your power will rise and shine more brilliantly than ever before. Alongside this, the Lily card appears, embodying the essence of purity, innocence, natural magnetism, and hidden potential. It comes as a reminder that your true beauty is not only in your capabilities, but also in your inner allure, in the clarity of your spirit, in the purity of your soul. All of this will bloom, will unfold, once you free yourself from control, once you release the ties that bind you to what is not truly yours. It is precisely through this liberation that you will be able to shine, to walk the path that belongs only to you, and to reach the success that awaits. Of course, this process requires time. It is not something that manifests overnight. But the cards affirm with striking clarity that from this moment onward, what is taking shape in your life is an awakening that leads you to choose a path that is not another's, not one meant to please others, but the path that resonates most deeply with your own soul. With each step, with each decision, you will move more closely into alignment, more deeply into harmony with your own inner self. And it is precisely through this choice that you will discover the light, uncover your strength, and live fully within the truth of who you are. What emerges here shows me that you are standing in a world that still feels so fresh, a world vast and open, where you cannot yet know for certain what awaits ahead. But it is precisely within this unknowing, within this immense and unshaped space, that you are beginning to shine in the way that is truly you. The more you live in alignment with yourself, the more you allow your true light to radiate outward, the closer you move toward the image of the person you have always longed to become. A new current is opening, a stream of energy that is carrying you nearer to the fullest expression of yourself, to the version of you that deep within your heart you have yearned for, perhaps for a very long time. This also shows that the decisions you are about to make, or perhaps the very decision you have only just made recently, will be of immense importance in the path ahead. They are not ordinary choices. They are doors opening toward a new direction, shaping the whole of your future. The energy here even speaks to the soul's mission, your divine destiny. It is about living true to your truth, embodying the essence you were born to express. The question being asked of you is, why have I come into this world? For what purpose was I sent here to Earth? Perhaps because of the influence of someone else or the unseen control of a relationship, you had not been able to see this clearly before. There were times you were veiled, times you lost sight of your true direction. And then I also sense another important theme present here, the notion of dependency. Dependency does not always carry a negative meaning. It takes many forms. There are things which, when you connect to them, actually bring you growth, awaken you, stir new feelings, and make you feel inspired, alive, moved. They are like impulses that draw you back again and again, urging you to experience them repeatedly. And the true reason is not that you are bound or trapped by them, but simply because that place, that person, that energy resonates so deeply with you that it makes your soul dance, vibrate, and blaze with light. That is not dependency, it is resonance. It is the natural calling that your soul is answering. If it makes your soul happy, if it makes you feel alive, joyous, and excited, then allow yourself to return. Allow yourself to embrace it many times, because it is helping you grow brighter. However, there is also a very clear boundary here. If one day you find that without this thing you cannot be happy, that you are clinging to it as the only condition for joy, then that is the moment you must stop, must awaken to clarity. For true happiness does not lie in the hands of anyone else, does not exist in any place outside of you, it is only within you. But if that connection, that experience, simply helps you feel more alive, helps you come closer to your most authentic essence, then honor it, cherish it. Because that is the sign that you are indeed drawing nearer to yourself, walking step by step on the path that is truly yours. I sense very clearly here an important message that at this moment you are standing before a lesson in choice. The universe is presenting you with a challenge, a subtle test for you to learn the art of discernment, to practice listening deeply to the true feelings within yourself. For from this point forward, in your life there will be many new situations arising, many new people entering, countless opportunities, invitations, and proposals appearing, and with them, endless decisions you will have to face. And the essence is not that you rush your gaze too far into the distant future, not that you strain to see where the final destination will be, but that in this very moment, in this present, you learn to honor and trust the truth of your inner feelings. Choose with love. Let your heart be the compass that guides your decisions. There may be people who come into your life, speaking beautiful words, encouraging you with all their might, showing care, offering help, showering you with attention, and often what they say may sound wonderful. But if deep within you there lingers a sense of discomfort, if inside there is still a knot, a faint unease, a quiet whisper that something does not feel quite right, that while you appreciate their effort, it does not fully resonate with you, then be honest with yourself. That is the moment you must face those feelings directly and draw a clear line. Gratitude and compassion are one thing, but true connection, deep resonance, and genuine ease, those are what matter most. The universe reminds you that someone will come, someone who is truly meant to walk with you, someone who will guide you rightly, someone who will bring you love in its purest form, a love that asks for nothing in return. And when that person arrives, what is most important is that you two have learned how to hold healthy boundaries, how to protect yourself, how not to forget your core values, not to forget your true self. It is the balance between opening your heart to receive and standing firmly in your own essence. This present moment is precisely when you are being tested, when the universe wishes you to practice clarity in your choices. You must become discerning, subtle, able to see clearly what is truly needed for you and what is not. You must ask yourself, does this truly serve me? Is this what my soul longs for? Is this what makes my soul sing? What makes my spirit vibrate with joy? This is the time for you to learn to choose only what ignites your soul, what makes your inner light shine. And so too in your relationships with people, you must ask, is this person truly worthy of my trust? Are they coming to me with purity and genuine love, or is there another intention hidden beneath their words? What is it that they are truly seeking from me? These questions are not meant to make you suspicious, but to train your wisdom, to teach you how to see through to the essence of things. This is the season for practicing discernment and choice. And it is precisely this practice that will help you grow, that will lead you in the right direction, that will bring you closer to the most authentic version of yourself. The card appearing here emphasizes that you must maintain for yourself a state of calm, of clarity, of stillness like the surface of a lake untouched by ripples. It whispers that when you preserve balance, When you do not allow emotions to overwhelm you, you will be able to choose precisely the things that are truly essential for you, gradually releasing what no longer fits. This is the stage in which every decision you make, every choice you take, contributes to shaping the path ahead. I can sense clearly that the energy here shows you are about to make an important decision, or more accurately, you are fortifying a determination, an inner steadfastness. This crystallized resolve is being conveyed with great intensity. By nature, you are a pure soul, and because of that your spirit is like a soft sponge, easily absorbing everything, easily feeling every vibration from the world around you. This is a beautiful quality, a rare gift, for it helps you learn, experience, and mature quickly. Yet, along with it comes a challenge. At times you unconsciously suppress yourself, drawing inward so that you can adapt to others. At times you tend to view everything about someone through a lens of positivity, overlooking the truth that they too have imperfections. When you idealize too much, when you expect others to be nothing but light, then when their shadows, their flaws appear, you are easily disheartened, disappointed, or disillusioned. Human beings are, by nature, a union of two sides, yin and yang, light and dark, strengths and weaknesses. No one exists as pure radiance without carrying a measure of shadow. When you expect all things to be flawless, when you expect people to shine eternally without blemish, it becomes difficult to accept reality when truth comes forth. Yet in truth, light can only shine in contrast to darkness, and shadow is a part of the whole. Especially in the early stages of a relationship, when emotions are rising high and the heart is easily stirred, you often only see the positives, seeing the other person as flawless and radiant. But remember, everyone will have weaknesses. Everyone will have limitations. To call them faults may not be accurate. It is more precise to say they have things they cannot yet do, aspects they cannot yet complete. This is simply part of the human condition. Even those who think at the highest levels, those with profound spiritual awareness, will still carry within them very earthly elements, remnants of ego, of desire, of the urge to control belonging to this 3D plane. No one is entirely free from it. As long as one still exists in this world, those limitations remain. Of course, there are rare souls who have nearly transcended, almost untouched by ego's grip, but such beings are few. For the rest of us, we are all still balancing between these two sides. And it is precisely your recognition of this truth, your acceptance of both the light and the shadow in others, that will allow you to step into relationships with a heart that is mature, realistic, yet still overflowing with love. I sense very strongly here that one of the most important things lies in how you choose to embrace, to receive, the shadows, the imperfections, when they reveal themselves in another person. When you encounter in them something that unsettles you, an action that makes you uncomfortable, or simply a misalignment that suddenly makes you aware of a difference, the essential response is not to immediately label it as wrong, as bad, as blameworthy. Instead, learn to see both the light and the shadow in them at the same time. Allow yourself to witness the wholeness of that human being. When you can do this, you will not so easily fall into rejection or aversion. Rather, you will learn to practice tolerance, forgiveness, and the opening of your heart to accept both yourself and others. This will lighten your heart, and it will also make your relationships stronger and more genuine. And so, the message is reminding you that even when you move closer in a relationship, do not rush to close the distance too quickly. Take time to truly understand each other, to observe more carefully, to build your connection gradually upon the foundation of understanding and respect. This applies not only to love, but also to work, to partnerships, and to every kind of connection in life. One of the clearest messages here is this: do not let yourself be swept away by what is only on the surface. Do not let what seems dazzling, what seems perfect on the outside, obscure the deeper truth. Explore thoroughly from the work, the way of living, the actions, to the mindset and perspectives of the other. Because if someone holds thoughts too extreme, if they believe that there is only one right path, that everything outside of their viewpoint is wrong, then you may easily be pulled into that rigid world. Therefore, you must keep for yourself an objective vision, maintain clarity, and observe them from a higher vantage point, from a broader perspective. The collective energy shows that right now there is indeed a practical movement approaching you. You may recall that in earlier readings I spoke of an imminent shift, and here once more that energy appears. It is as if the cards are emphasizing again that a new stage, a change rooted in reality and in action, is truly drawing near. And I see very clearly that you are being released from something that has bound you for a long time. It feels like freedom, like openness, like a profound lightness flooding your soul. Yet this does not mean that those who once walked beside you left behind nothing of value. Even if in the past you were controlled by someone, even if you once lived under the influence or dominance of another, those very experiences also gave you immense lessons. And so, hold on to gratitude, look at the positive side, and do not cling to the heaviness of resentment. When you can transform that energy into gratitude, the path ahead opens far more lightly and clearly. I will bring to a close the reading for those of you drawn to pile 2 here. Thank you for staying until the end of this journey. Until we meet again in the next reading. Hello to those of you who have chosen pile 3. Thank you for your patience, and now I will begin the reading for everyone drawn to pile 3. May this spread bring you healing, fresh realizations, and moments filled with love. Now, let us begin the reading to look deeply into the question, what is it that will soon be decided? What is it that will soon take shape and begin to move forward in your life? When the very first card appeared, I immediately sensed a powerful message that something is truly preparing to be set into motion, a movement beginning to spread, signaling an important turning point. Recently, I have done a reading with the theme of what is about to shift, what is on the verge of awakening, and perhaps some of you here may have watched that reading. And today, that same energy has arisen once again. It feels as though what is about to be decided, what is about to take form in your life, is once more being emphasized by the universe, as if to affirm that the time is truly drawing near. I sense that right now, within you, there may be an inner struggle, a tug-of-war in your heart. You may be experiencing feelings of indecision, of conflict between different choices, or perhaps you are even facing certain clashes, certain confrontations within your relationships. It may be conflict with someone in particular, perhaps the very person you are thinking of, a lover or a colleague, a partner in your work. It could also be tied to your work environment itself, involving rules, disagreements within the group, or clashes between you and the collective, the company, the team. All of this energy points toward opposition, toward tension, whether it is playing out inside of you or in the connections you have with others. However, the cards are showing very clearly that if you are truly caught in conflict right now, entangled in disputes or misunderstandings, all of this will be resolved in a positive way. The situation will no longer stand still, no longer remain in delay, but will be propelled forward into movement, opening into a new direction. A current of release is approaching, signaling that the emotions long suppressed, the disagreements that have been restrained, will gradually be untangled and set free. This comes as an affirmation that the dissatisfaction, the discomfort within your heart, will indeed find its way to resolution. The spread is showing that when matters are finally decided, when everything truly begins to move forward, what you will receive is a sense of relief, a release of tension, a deep breath as though after a long time of suppression you can finally exhale. It is the feeling of being liberated, of the soul becoming clearer, lighter, more transparent. This is precisely what the energy of the future is pointing toward for you: tranquility, clarity, serenity. And yet, at the final outcome, I see the Wheel of Fortune appearing, but in its reversed position. And this delivers a message of great significance. It indicates that although there will be resolution, although openness will come, within the current still remain fragments of energy that show misalignment, rhythms that are not yet in full harmony. It suggests that there may still be misunderstandings, there may still be debates or small conflicts that arise. In other words, disagreements will not disappear entirely. They may resurface, reminding you that the path ahead is not solely smooth, but interwoven with challenges. It is as though the universe is saying, a door will indeed open for you to feel lighter, but at the same time, there will be challenges walking alongside, so that you may learn how to respond, how to hold firm and remain calm through every turning of the wheel. This is the preparation for you to enter a new stage, one where every trial is also an opportunity to grow, to understand yourself more deeply, and to learn how to maintain balance in all relationships. I sense very clearly that perhaps you have recently been through waves of emotion, much like tides that rise and fall without warning. There may have been days when you experienced immense joy, moments brimming with happiness and enthusiasm, but then almost immediately afterward, perhaps the very next day or within just a few days, an event pulled you down into heaviness, into weariness, as though swept into a play of many scenes, soaring into exaltation only to suddenly plummet downward. That very sensation of standing at the peak and then abruptly sliding into the valley, I feel you have lived through this many times in recent days. And this may come from within yourself, from your own experiences, your own inner transformations. Yet it is not always only about you. Sometimes it connects to the people closest to you. I feel strongly that it could be someone you are bonded with, someone you hold feelings for, or even a work partner, a collaborator, someone with whom you interact often. This person may carry an energy that is unpredictable, at times exuberant, radiant, positive, and then suddenly sinking, heavy, shadowed, and sad. And it is this very fluctuation, this instability in them, that has significantly affected your own emotional state, pulling you into the same rhythm, making you sway with their rises and falls. However, the cards are showing that you will eventually need to learn how to face this directly, for this is an essential part of your journey. It will not necessarily vanish completely, but you will learn how to understand it, how to manage it, and how to walk alongside these fluctuations. The spread is telling you that yes, everything will indeed move forward, there will be release, there will be openings, but at the same time, the roots of the issue remain. They cannot be said to disappear entirely. This means that instead of expecting a final, absolute liberation, what you will gain is the ability to look straight at it, to know how to adjust the way you respond, to find ways to harmonize so that you preserve peace within. For instance, if you are in a marriage, it is clear that you cannot simply walk away just because there are disagreements or emotional highs and lows. What you are being asked to learn is how to step forward, how to face and walk alongside your partner, how to sustain and improve the relationship. The inner tug-of-war, the conflict you are carrying, arises precisely because it matters so much, because it cannot be lightly cast aside. That is why it weighs so heavily on your heart. And for this reason, there is a strong possibility that in the near future, a significant encounter or momentous event will appear in your life, a milestone carrying powerful influence. It may be an important relationship fated to arrive, a major turning point in love or career, or a situation demanding that you make a choice that is far from simple. And because it is important, because it is tied to what is essential in your soul's journey, you will not find an easy answer, nor a straightforward path right away. Even so, the card in the position of the future emphasizes that in the end, light will come. The knots tightening within your heart will begin to loosen. The tense circumstances will start to shift. You will enter a stage where things begin to move, opening new hope, offering solutions. Of course, on this path there will still be twists and unexpected turns, moments when you see the road is anything but smooth. But at the very least, there is light, there is clarity guiding the way. This means that although it may not be complete, although it may not yet be transformation at the deepest root, you will still begin to see the signs of improvement, the signals of release. It is a reminder that the future holds moments where you will feel relief, feel lighter, and from there, you will learn to walk forward with a steadier, more mature heart, one that knows how to harmonize both turbulence and stability in life. I sense here very strongly that in a certain sense, you are not being asked to demand perfection, nor are you required to divide everything into stark lines of black and white. There are matters that fall into the gray, things not entirely right and not entirely wrong, but which life itself, or the circumstances around you, allow to unfold. And it is precisely those things that, in the time to come, will gradually be shaped, will move toward being clearly defined and decided. When the result arrives, you will surely feel as though a burden has been lifted, as though your mind has been cleared, leaving you with ease, lightness, and relief, at least in that moment. Yet this does not mean that everything will be perfect, nor that all the desires in your heart will be fully and flawlessly realized. Some of your wishes may not reach the absolute level you have been hoping for. The card is reminding you that life rarely hands us a flawless whole, as if out of a dream, but always leaves a small space, a gap in which we must learn acceptance, learn balance, learn harmony. Of course, when you hear this, it may stir discomfort within you, even resistance, like being forced down a winding path that seems endless. You may find yourself asking, why has this not ended yet? When will it finally reach a conclusion? But it is this very prolonging, this ongoing process, that reveals how important the matter truly is to you. It is not a fleeting concern, not a trivial circumstance, but something profoundly meaningful in your life. It may be a relationship that demands nurturing, tending with patience, or perhaps a living environment, a circumstance you must learn to face and build with over time. Its importance is precisely why you cannot simply discard it or take it lightly. And when the decision is finally made, it will signify that within you, or within those connected to you, there has also been a crystallization of resolve, a choosing, a commitment that has been set. This carries the quality of destiny, as if the universe is affirming, this is the path I choose. That is a deeper layer of meaning that the card is underscoring for you. And what lies ahead? I will continue to draw more cards for further clarity. But before that, let us look back at your past and your present. From here, it is clear that you have been in a state of stagnation, with matters not unfolding as you wished, everything slowing, not flowing as you hoped it would. You may feel yourself forced into passivity, into waiting, unable to actively turn the tide the way you long to. Perhaps you have been hoping for something to change quickly, for the current to begin moving, but instead it has remained delayed, leaving you restless. And so the message being delivered to you is this: this situation will shift, the flow will be cleared, the things you are waiting for will gradually open before you. And not stopping there, the star appears, but in its reversed position. This card reflects your state of spirit, of emotion. It shows that you are not able right now to fully express your unique essence, the individuality that is naturally yours. You may feel restrained, confined, as though you can no longer be your true self. What once flowed easily, smoothly, is now entangled, blocked, moving against the rhythm you hoped for. Instead of effortless unfolding, you are facing pauses, disappointments, even a loss of clarity in your vision and in your faith. And so, what I see here is not only an external situation, but also an inner reflection. It is that space within where you feel confined, boxed in, unable to fully express, unable to radiate your light. Yet these very cards also open the message that this suppression will eventually find release, that the situation will be opened, and you will once again reclaim freedom in your soul and harmony in your life. It seems you have had to endure a period filled with regrets, with sadness, with circumstances falling short of what you wished for, one after another. When I look at the Four of Swords appearing in the position of the past, I see clearly the message of rest, of pause, of being forced into stillness. This card always carries the meaning of slowing down, of a silence that cannot be avoided, as though life itself placed you into an intermission, whether you wanted it or not. What stands out is that all three cards appearing together are in unison, pointing toward the same truth. No matter how strong your desire, no matter what burning intention you have, the reality has not unfolded as you wanted. Instead of being able to move forward smoothly, you were placed in a state of waiting, of delay, even trapped in the tension between yearning and what reality allowed. From this very friction, inner conflict arose, leaving you feeling caught in a spiral of hesitation, in a state of helplessness. Looking back over the last year and a half or so, there must have been many times when you felt as though everything was blurred, lacking clear progress, lacking breakthrough. There may have been moments when it seemed like things were finally opening up, that the road ahead was bright with promise, but then suddenly once again came the stagnation, extinguishing your sense of excitement. And at times, it was not only outer circumstances, but also your own state of being that played a major role in prolonging the situation. You may realize that even when you knew what needed to be done, even when you were fully aware of your duties, your responsibilities, the goals you should aim toward, still within you there was a lack of drive, a missing flame. You knew there were things you could not delay, tasks that had to be completed, but the energy to begin was absent. This has been a spiritual stagnation, a faltering of willpower, something you have had to face and wrestle with. Yet I also sense very clearly something within you. In your essence, you have always carried fire, a passion that runs deep, a burning desire, the heartbeat that quickens when you encounter what excites your soul, that makes you exclaim with eagerness, "Yes, this is what I want. This is what I must do." You are the kind of person who, when finding what truly resonates, throws yourself into it with enthusiasm, with fervor, with overflowing energy. And so, if at this moment you feel unmotivated, if you feel as though the fire in your heart has been snuffed out, that weight is even greater. It creates conflict within you because it goes against the very nature of your spirited, impassioned self. I see the image of someone who has always wanted to live wholeheartedly, to do the things that make their heart beat faster, but who now seems locked in a fog of stagnation. If this description does not fit you entirely, then forgive me, but the cards are showing with clarity this clash between your fiery nature and the heavy, sluggish reality that surrounds you. I sense that even though within your heart you carry goals, desires, visions that once stirred your soul with excitement, there are times when you find yourself denying them, whispering inwardly that it could never be, convincing yourself that surely it is impossible. There are those who deeply wish to act, who long to set things into motion, yet they hold themselves back with very practical reasons: no time, not enough financial resources, no certainty of stability. And because of this, many of you may have fallen into a state of not knowing which way to turn, unclear about where the path ahead truly leads, perhaps even losing sight of what your real goal is. That haze leaves you feeling adrift within your own dreams. And then appears the card True Color, return to your true self. This card radiates a force of powerful cleansing, a current of purification sweeping away what no longer belongs. It signals that you are in a time where you must come back to your authentic being, learning to look deeper and truly understand yourself. In that process, whatever no longer serves you will naturally fall away, cycles that have been completed will close, connections or situations that must be released will find their way to dissolve. This is the necessary ending that opens the space for something new to enter your life. I see clearly that you are standing at a crossroads. On one side is the old self, the part of you that has walked through a heavy age tied to material concerns, to the weight and bindings of the earth era. On the other is the new self, the version of you now learning how to live in the breath of freedom, in the expansive energy of the air era. At this intersection, you are being asked to choose honesty with your soul, to live true to the voice of spirit, no longer able to pretend, no longer able to play roles simply to satisfy others. This stage is summoning you to enter a journey where authenticity with yourself becomes the foundation. And so, you will begin to notice many things around you feeling out of sync, awkward, no longer harmonizing the way they once did. Those misalignments, those discordances, are not here to torment you, but to remind you that you have already stepped into a new phase of your being. And indeed, there are many fresh winds, new opportunities, and changes rushing into your life. Yet it may also be that right now you are held back by circumstances beyond your control. Time has not yet allowed, opportunities are not yet fully ripe, external conditions are not yet wholly supportive. You know clearly the direction your heart longs for, you ache for movement, but too many factors hold you still, leaving you caught in the conflict of wanting to step forward and yet not being able to. This is a trial of timing, a challenge of patience, compelling you to be gentler and more patient with yourself as you prepare to step fully into this unfolding chapter. Of course, the way you perceive this is deeply personal. Some look at the present moment and feel it is not yet complete, sensing the need to reach for something greater, and from there arises the unease, the questioning, the inner struggle. Yet others place all of their attention on the now, holding gratitude for what is already in their hands, and so they feel no need to set lofty goals at all. For them, living fully in this very moment is already a goal, and their contentment with the present leaves them with no further longing. The card itself acknowledges this truth, that every soul approaches life differently, and both of these attitudes are valid, so long as they resonate with the authentic path of your own being. Indeed, what we call goals, what we call the things we wish to achieve, are not in essence something that must always exist. For if in this very moment you are able to feel wholeness, if you are able to live in gratitude, to feel joy within your present life, then that alone is already more than enough. When you are truly immersed in the fullness of now, the past ceases to be a burden and the future no longer carries fear. You do not need to constantly force yourself to chase grand dreams, to accomplish dazzling objectives, or to keep lists of wishes and ambitions to prove yourself. Even if you have nothing in particular you desire to achieve, even if there are no specific goals calling to you, it is perfectly fine. In this new era, such a state is not only acceptable, but it is also proof that you are truly alive in the present, breathing and existing in your most genuine self. And naturally, for those who love to envision the future, who feel joy in imagining, in setting goals, in letting themselves be carried by the inspiration of what might be, let your soul sketch those landscapes, let yourself dream, let yourself soar. For diversity of lifestyle, richness of perception is becoming ever more natural, and each person has the right to live according to their own rhythm. So go the way that brings you happiness, choose the perspective that feels right for you, for if it brings you joy, then that alone is the truest direction. As I look deeper into your environment, as well as into the emotions and attitudes of the other person or those most closely connected to you, I see something striking. The Five of Wands has appeared, showing that you are in a situation where it feels as though pressure from the outside is pressing directly upon you, as though headwinds are rushing in to test you. I sense that around you, there are gazes fixed on you with a sharpness, analyzing, examining, scrutinizing. It is not entirely devoid of love or admiration, yet even love, when too intense, can shift into its opposite, even transforming into resentment. There are those who admire you so deeply, who hold you in such high regard, that within them arises a paradox. They long to follow you, to lift you up, to model themselves after you, yet at the same time, a part of them whispers bitterly, "I will never become that." And this very conflict of emotions twists love into comparison, comparison into envy, and envy into a subtle undercurrent of rivalry. So I see that around you, there may be a dual current of energy. On one side you are cherished, admired, looked up to, yet at the same time you are scrutinized, judged, made into a mirror for others to compare themselves against, leaving them unsettled. This becomes the root of a kind of energy that resembles competition, a quiet undercurrent of conflict, where affection and opposition coexist, where love and rivalry intertwine, creating strong winds that now test the steadiness of your heart. And indeed, this card also carries another layer of meaning, the presence of a companion or a healthy rival, someone who competes with you so that both of you can grow, sharpen one another, and become stronger. Yet when I look deeper into the energy here, I do not clearly sense the qualities of healthy rivalry. Instead, it feels less like mutual growth and more like envy, like the tension of winning and losing, like subtle undercurrents of discord directed toward you by another person or by those around you. This is why I feel that the gaze of others upon you at this moment seems sterner, harsher than usual, as though they are watching you with expectation, with judgment, with demands for you to measure up. This may stem from their desire for you to mature, to change, to realize something significant. Perhaps they want you to awaken, to notice things they think you are blind to, even though in truth you have long been aware, even though you have already done well. Yet they still voice their opinions, they still interfere with unnecessary reminders and advice. The card evokes the image of you surrounded by gazes and words that make you uncomfortable, weighed down by pressure. And because of this, there is a strong possibility that you have also been holding yourself back, reluctant to say what you truly want, hesitant to act in alignment with your own inner desires. Instead, you may be choosing to withdraw, to hide, or to remain silent in order to avoid clashing with the piercing eyes fixed upon you. Another point worth noting is that this adversarial energy is not necessarily born of direct malice. Very often it springs from envy, from hidden comparisons. Deep within the heart of the other person, there may well be admiration for you, but admiration taken to excess transforms into discomfort, into jealousy. They see something about you that shines more brightly, perhaps your confident presence, your ability to draw attention, or simply that you are more successful in some way. You earn more, you are more loved, or you live with more freedom and independence. These things, without you even intending it, highlight what they feel they lack, and from there grows the impulse to resist you, to refuse to fall behind you. This energy can surface in any kind of relationship. It might be among friends, within a romantic connection, with colleagues at work, or even within your family, such as between siblings. For in any relationship, once the element of comparison is placed on the table, the feeling of competition, the desire to prove oneself, to not be overshadowed, inevitably arises. Even if you yourself do not think this way at all, deep within the other person there may be an inner whisper, "I don't want to lose to you. I don't want you to surpass me." And that very thought takes root, shaping a current of rivalry, an invisible pressure you now find yourself facing, even if you have not yet fully recognized it consciously. I sense very strongly here an intense energy, a bond that is passionate and deep, as if within this context, with this particular person or these connections, what you share is not at all simple or fleeting, but woven of profound ties. Because of this, if in the future you continue to walk alongside them, whether within a relationship of love, or through cooperation in work, or through shared involvement in a common environment, then these rising and falling tides, these turbulent waves, may be nearly impossible to avoid. They resemble waves that cannot be stopped, swelling, breaking, and then subsiding, testing the steadiness of your heart over and over again. And yet, the card also shows that no matter the clashes, no matter the conflicts, there will come moments of reconciliation. There will be clarity again, misunderstandings unraveled, tensions illuminated until they dissolve. In the end, everything finds its way back to a state of balance. And it is precisely because of this that I feel called to pause here and look more deeply into what is truly about to be set in motion, what is preparing to become the decisive turning point in your journey. As I drew further, I saw that in the position of guidance, the Seven of Wands reversed appeared. This card often carries the sense of being pressured, of being backed into a corner, of having to stand firm against opposition, or to defend oneself in a circle of resistance. But here, appearing in the place of advice, it is not so much a warning that you will certainly be trapped in such a situation, but rather a message. It is possible that in the eyes of others, opposing energies exist. Currents of resistance are directed toward you. You are becoming the focal point, and because of that, it is almost inevitable that you will be noticed, watched, scrutinized. This only reinforces the sense that you are ascending to a new stage, stepping onto a higher level of your own life's path. For if others view you with rivalry, If they compare themselves to you or feel the urge to compete, it is only because you truly carry a strength, a brilliance, a gift that compels them to look up. You are holding energies, unique talents, special qualities that sooner or later will shine, will blossom, and that very blossoming will open the way for you to enter an entirely new phase, a context prepared solely for you. And so, when I gaze into the true purpose of this reading, I see the keywords shining very clearly: transformation of the present, love, and the shifting of life's course. The earlier cards repeatedly evoked images of confrontation, of clashing, of energies that seemed aggressive and challenging. But all of these were merely the surface layers of something much deeper, something more essential: true love. It is love at its most fundamental essence, love that rises directly from the soul, that is hidden beneath it all, that stands as the true reason why such conflicts, such struggles, such trials have appeared before you. For when true love exists, when your heart touches what is most authentic within you, it means you cannot turn away, you cannot live carelessly or shallowly. True love compels you to face the shadows, to collide with your own fragility, your wounds, your jealousies, and your tests. And yet, it is precisely because this love is real that the conflict arises, that the struggle surfaces, that the pain is felt, all of it only to bring you closer to the truth of yourself. And that, at its core, is the message this reading is whispering to you today. Here, I see something very distinct, something imprinted strongly. Your past, the things that once occurred in times before, are still leaving deep marks upon your present energy. As the reading resounds, a question emerges, pressing to be asked. Are you still carrying within your heart a wound, a memory of pain that has not yet truly healed? I sense that perhaps you once loved someone profoundly, so deeply that you emptied your heart, giving all that you had, entrusting them with the purest depths of your love, only to be betrayed. Perhaps it was the experience of giving yourself wholly to someone who, in the end, was unfaithful, who turned their back on you, leaving behind a wound that even now remains difficult to close. Or perhaps, not only in love, but also in your dreams, in your personal aspirations, it is the same story. You may once have carried a great dream, something you longed to achieve, a goal that once set your heart ablaze, but because of circumstance, because of pressure, or for reasons beyond your control, you had to release it, had to abandon it, had to accept letting it go. And that, too, became a wound, a scar that remains carved into the depths of your heart, a part of your soul that perhaps you avoid revisiting, yet it still dwells there. These experiences, whether they came from love lost or from dreams left unfulfilled, are all wounds that have left their mark. And now they are directly linked to your present challenge, to the very thing that is about to be decided, to the matter that is preparing to take shape within your life. The card is whispering that all of those experiences, the betrayal, the loss, the things you were forced to let go of, were, in truth, lessons that life had laid out for you. Yes, they hurt, they brought you to your knees, but without them, you would not be the person you are today. It is precisely those wounds that have forged you, that have made you stronger, more mature, and have shaped you into the version of yourself that stands here now. And so, the true importance lies not in what happened, but in how you perceive it, how you choose to receive and integrate those experiences. Because it is your way of facing the past, your willingness to accept it as an essential part of your journey, that will determine whether you are ready to embrace the transformation that awaits. The message for you is this: release the past. Allow those heavy memories, those wounds that once seemed impossible to heal, to finally be set free. They have fulfilled their role, they have completed their mission in your life, and now you must give them permission to dissolve so that new space may open within you. If you are listening to this reading with a question about reconciliation, about returning to a past relationship, then the card is also telling you that within that love there were certainly things that were too difficult to forgive. Situations that defied explanation, hurts that cut you to your very core. That is the nature of love, because when we love, no one escapes unscathed. No one has not tasted the pain of being driven to the very edges of sorrow. And those memories, however bitter, are the very things you are being asked to accept, to release, so that you can continue forward along your path. I feel here a very clear message. Perhaps in the past, things did not reach the point of a complete ending, not yet a clean, decisive farewell. And yet, the card emphasizes that what matters most now is that you must let go, you must loosen your grip on the past. Because everything that has ever happened, all of those painful experiences, all of those wounds, are the fragments that built the person you are today. The transformation lies in how you see them, in allowing them to become an inseparable part of your journey, in recognizing that it is precisely because of those losses that you have grown, that you have become stronger. That shift in perspective is the step that leads to true healing. Time, inevitably, will soothe all things. No matter how deep the wounds, they will heal once you learn to change the way you hold them, once you allow yourself to see them not as chains, but as teachers, as turning points that carved out your strength and your wisdom. In this reading, I see that you are standing before something immense, something you once did not dare to touch, something so significant that in the past you had to let it go, even believing at one point that you would never again have the chance to reach it. And yet, it is precisely that which is the truth, the very essence of your path. There are two layers of meaning here. It may be true love, a relationship you once regarded as your everything, or it may be a career, a project, a dream, or a mission you once held close to your heart. Whether it is love or career, it represents the truth within your soul, something your heart cannot deny. And now, real changes, concrete shifts that shape your destiny, are beginning to unfold around it. This means you are preparing to step into an important new chapter. In love, this may manifest as a reunion with someone from the past after many trials, or as moving into a deeper, more profound stage with your current partner, an engagement, a marriage, or a long-term commitment built on true stability. In career, it may come as an offer, a decision, a dream job you have long desired, or even an unexpected opportunity, receiving a confirmation of success, an invitation to collaborate, or a professional breakthrough that transforms your entire life. These are pivotal moments, the turning points you have yearned for, and they are now beginning to open before you. However, because this is the truth of your soul, the very thing you most deeply long for, it also means you will feel fear, trembling as you stand before it. The more important it is, the more you have desired it, the more anxiety it stirs when you finally approach it. Old wounds, painful memories from the past, they all rise now as if testing you, questioning whether you are truly ready. And do you see how human beings so often fear change? Even when it is a positive shift, even when it is something wonderful, the moment before it happens, our hearts still quiver with unease. This very moment, though joy and light lie ahead, still carries with it the shadow of fear. That is why now, as you draw closer to what you truly desire, waves of emotion swell within you, worries and inner conflicts arise. This is the final trial you must overcome in order to reach what your heart truly craves. And so, I see that when everything is finally decided, when the choice is made, you will feel as though your whole mind has been cleared, as though all the knots within your heart are finally untied. This will be the moment when issues resolve, when bindings are released, and most importantly, when the old wounds and lingering shadows that weighed so heavily on your heart are gradually set free. This is the profound message the reading whispers to you now. Here lies an important message. Learn how to acknowledge defeat, or in other words, accept surrender, accept the truth, instead of constantly struggling against it. To acknowledge defeat here does not mean you are weak, nor that you must abandon yourself, but rather that you possess the courage to look directly into your own true feelings. Because when within you there exists an authentic desire, a burning longing, but your rational mind or your fears rise up and tell you, no, you must not, that is wrong, then conflict is born. And it is precisely this inner conflict that becomes the source of torment, the endless struggle that leaves you exhausted and weary. For example, there may be times when you fall in love with someone whom your rational mind insists you should not love. Such a situation can cause deep turmoil, but the reading advises that instead of denying or extinguishing that feeling, allow yourself to acknowledge it. Yes, I have loved. Because loving someone is, at its core, a natural thing, an instinct of the heart. To love is never wrong. That emotion itself is never inherently bad. When you permit yourself to admit, to accept that you have loved, you are actually granting yourself release, rather than straining to suppress it and in the process wounding yourself. Another example, imagine that you and your closest friend both long for the same job, both aspire to secure the same position, but there is only one seat available. If you are chosen, of course your friend will be saddened. Faced with such a situation, you may begin to question yourself. Should I even want this? Am I wrong for desiring this role? Yet the truth is, your wish is not wrong. The yearning to pursue the path you love is your right. That does not make you a bad person, nor does it diminish the value of your friendship. This is the test life presents, to learn how to balance the authenticity of your own desires with the care and regard you hold for others. This means that when you resolve to follow the inner call, yes, I truly want this, I truly need to do this, you will, at the same time, face feelings of guilt, a cautiousness born from not wishing to hurt someone you treasure. But understand this, The very act of daring to admit your feelings, daring to stand with your authentic longing, is the first step to truly living in alignment with yourself. For only then will you no longer be torn apart by inner battles, no longer be trapped in the spiral of conflict between heart and reason. The crucial message here is this: allow yourself to acknowledge, allow yourself to love, allow yourself to desire, allow yourself to wish to live in harmony with what you genuinely yearn for. It is this very acceptance that will free you from the weight of inner burdens and open the way to a new journey, lighter, more liberated, and authentically free. Perhaps among you, there are those who find yourselves caught in exactly this kind of situation because you love too deeply, because you have poured your heart so fully into that love. It is precisely this intensity that prevents you from remaining steadfast in following the true voice of your heart. Love at times makes you conflicted, unable to directly and honestly choose what you truly want, because you fear that your feelings might hurt someone else, or because you worry that you will appear selfish. And so within you arises a tug of war, a hidden struggle between your authentic desires and the anxiety of having to sacrifice them. The advice the cards are offering you now is this: allow yourself to acknowledge your true feelings without attaching labels of good or bad, right or wrong. Cast away that rigid frame of judgment. Simply say to yourself, this is what I want, this is what I long for, this is how I wish to be my authentic self. That act of recognition does not mean you are weak, nor does it mean you have lost. Rather, it is the deepest form of honesty with yourself. In one sense, it may feel like surrender, but in truth, it is liberation. In matters of love, this becomes even clearer. There are moments when you ask yourself, am I the only one who loves more, who gives more than the other? And when such thoughts arise, resentment wells up within you, a sense of grievance as though you are the one at a disadvantage. Yet the truth is that you have indeed loved to such a degree, you have surrendered your heart entirely to that person. Yes, it may sting, yes, it may carry a trace of sorrow and regret, but when you accept that truth, when you tell yourself, yes, I have loved this much, and I acknowledge it, then in that moment, the softness, the sincerity, the natural purity of your soul returns to you. From that acceptance, you begin to feel more at ease. The inner battles gradually subside, and you free yourself from the exhausting struggles within. That is why I feel that in this phase of your journey, the most important thing for you is to learn how to release that inner conflict. Let go of the constant need to measure, to balance, to win or lose. Instead, embrace with genuine honesty what your heart is truly feeling, what it is truly yearning for. Because as long as you remain trapped in that struggle, you are held back, building walls that stop you from stepping forward. And when I look ahead at the unfolding energies, I sense that because you are approaching a truly significant decision, there is a powerful tension rising within you, as though you are simultaneously preparing for a great leap while also slamming on the brakes. It feels like you are summoning resolve yet pressing down hard on the pedal of restraint, preventing yourself from moving ahead. Telling yourself, no, I must not go down that path. I cannot allow it. Stop. This is precisely the conflict between the subconscious and the conscious mind, such a fascinating mechanism of human psychology. For deep within, in the quiet depths of your subconscious, you are always pulled toward what you truly long for, yet on the surface of your awareness, you strive to control, to resist, to construct barriers that hold yourself back. When I drew additional cards, the child and the bouquet appeared, a combination that carries such a tender, sweet, and light-hearted energy. I pulled these cards to help soothe the fear within you, and indeed, the message comes through clearly. What you are worrying about, what has been weighing heavily on you, is in truth not as frightening as you imagine. On the contrary, the outcome may surprise you, breaking open in a way that feels like release, leaving you exclaiming in wonder, so this is how it unfolds? I never expected it to be so simple, so natural. And it is precisely in that moment that you will realize the things you long for, the desires your heart has been yearning toward, are in fact entirely possible to manifest. They are not out of reach, not impossibly difficult, not demanding that you suffer to the point of depletion. When you release your fear, when you let go of the brakes you've been pressing down on yourself, that very wish will find its way to you in the most natural, gentle, and sweet way, filling your soul with comfort and warmth in its deepest corners. So I see clearly that when what you truly desire in the depths of your soul takes form and becomes reality, when that heartfelt wish is crystallized, it truly will be a momentous event, something extraordinary in your life. Because you yourself feel how immense, how significant it is, you have poured into it so much energy, so many expectations. And it is precisely because of all those expectations, because of the weight you have placed upon it, that instead of only joy, it also comes with fear, with tension, with anxiety. That fear does not mean the wish itself is wrong, nor that it will bring misfortune. It is only because it touches the deepest layers of your heart. It reaches into that place of truth within your soul that you have been longing for all along. But once this matter is decided, the message to you is this: within yourself you will find peace, a serene lightness, and alongside it a sense of astonishment, as if you find yourself saying, "Oh, so it turns out this way? Entirely different from all I had imagined until now." And in that instant, you will understand that your fears were only exaggerations, illusions of the mind, and that this path has always been simpler, gentler, easier than you thought it to be. The cards that appeared, child, birds, bouquet, carry a message filled with luminous, untainted energy. Child represents innocence, purity, the essence of your original self before the world imposed barriers, before fears and invisible rules bound you. Birds signify communication, connection, the dialogue between two souls. Bouquet is joy, celebration, the gift of life that is bestowed when you are open, sincere, and brave enough to receive it. Together these three cards weave a message. When you dare to live true to yourself, when you dare to return to that innocent, radiant self like a child, then you will naturally forge the connection you yearn for with the one you love, or with the work, the dream, the purpose you have been nurturing within. And when that connection is made manifest, it will be joy itself, it will be blessing, it will be the most beautiful gift the universe could ever place into your hands. I also feel that perhaps in this period you have been overthinking, cutting things down within yourself, calculating too much, constructing layers of barriers in your mind. You worry that if you remain steadfast in following your own desires, it will cause someone else sorrow, that it will force a close friend or a companion to let go of their own opportunity. You are torn by questions like, if I take this step forward, does it mean that person will lose the very thing they long for? Would that make me selfish? And because of these tangled, overlapping thoughts, you have held yourself back, unable to speak out, unable to acknowledge openly, yes, I truly want this. Yet when you return to that innocent, pure place within you, the childlike essence, you will see how simple the answer really is. Place yourself in the heart of a child. A child does not think about winning or losing, does not measure who gains and who loses. A child simply knows how to be honest with its desires. I want to do this. I want to live in this way. I want to play together, to create together with my friend. And it is precisely this perspective that opens up a new way of seeing. Instead of feeling trapped in the belief that if you gain, the other must lose, you realize that there can be a path of harmony, a way for both to journey side by side, each finding their own space, and joy being shared between you. So the message here is this: return to the purest essence of your own heart. Allow innocence to lead the way. Because only then will you understand that dreams are not heavy, that love is not confining, but that all of it is simply connection, simply joy, simply the gift life has been waiting to place into your hands. That is why I sense so many key themes arising in this reading around competition, around feelings of rivalry, around the urge to contend against one another. But the message is strikingly clear. Instead of seeing one another solely as adversaries, why not consider the possibility of doing it together, of joining forces? So often, what convinces you that something cannot be done stems only from the fixed assumption in your mind that it is impossible. Yet in truth, life always finds its own rhythm, its own mysterious way of unfolding, to create a world more abundant, more beautiful for everyone. It can be arranged in such a way that not only you find joy, but at the same time that person, your friend, your partner, can also find happiness. When your heart returns to that childlike state of openness, when you allow yourself to think in the direction that both you and they can rejoice together, that energy itself will open doors to possibilities you never imagined could exist. For example, if you finally attain something you have been longing for all this time, instead of fearing that your close friend will be hurt, you may be surprised to find that they are actually the very first person to cheer for you, to wholeheartedly support you. Or even more, the situation may shift in such a way that you and they can do it together, can walk the path side by side. Sometimes, it takes nothing more than you speaking your heart openly. How about we do this together? How about we share this journey? And the answer you receive might come so effortlessly, so unexpectedly gentle. Yes, of course. And in that instant, all the worries that once weighed upon you dissolve completely, as though you once imagined this to be a fierce battle, yet it turns out to be far simpler, easier, lighter than you had ever thought. The same is true in love. This scenario is not unfamiliar at all. There are times you feel you must strain yourself, must struggle, must calculate every move, and yet the moment you let go, the moment you allow sincerity to lead and your heart to guide the way, you discover that the door opens naturally, without force. And it is precisely in that innocence, in that openness, that what you have long desired is placed into your hands. The card itself seems to be offering congratulations, congratulations, all that you have truly yearned for, you shall receive. The important thing is that you learn how to soften those rigid thoughts within your mind. Do not keep binding yourself in endless calculations of gain and loss. Do not keep worrying that if you speak this way, the other will be sad, or if you act that way, they will become upset. Instead, just once, find the courage to return to the innocence of the child within you, to dare to say, "This is what I want. This is how I wish to do it. This is how I want to live." Admit it frankly to yourself, with no need to hide, with no need to justify. Even when you feel that your desire might seem selfish, might seem excessive, it does not matter. For sometimes what you call selfishness is in fact the most authentic, the most untainted wish of your heart. And if it is truly what you desire, then it deserves to be heard. Whether it is love felt for more than one person at the same time, whether it is the longing to work with many people at once in a way you think could never be possible, the truth is you cannot know for certain. The universe always has its own mysterious ways of arranging things. And when you return to honesty, to the pure openness of a child, what once seemed impossible may suddenly become possible, and may even arrive in your life with tenderness, with surprise, with joy. So the most important message that the cards are whispering now is this: be honest with yourself, return to sincerity in your feelings and in your desires. Because when you are not honest, when you hide from or deny your true emotions, it is precisely then that the inner struggles and contradictions take root. The card reveals that all that you feel, all that you wish for, none of it is false. All of it is real, all of it arises from the authentic essence of your soul. But because we are living in this three-dimensional material world, a world that demands everything to be categorized, measured, and placed into frameworks, you sometimes feel as though your life is chaotic, disordered, like a tangled web impossible to explain. And yet, this is the very nature of being human. The soul of a human being can never be arranged into neat, perfect compartments. Within each of us there always exists countless shades of gray, blurred spaces that cannot be drawn in stark black and white. Life itself can never be divided with absolute clarity into what is right and what is wrong, nor can it be forced into tidy formulas. And so, when you pressure yourself to always be decisive, to always draw clean lines, to always make everything clear and definite, what you are truly doing is confining yourself within the narrow frame of a heavy three-dimensional world, living too much in the 3D, perceiving life only through the lens of logic and reason, while forgetting that the soul itself is far softer, more fluid, and infinitely more expansive. Therefore, the message here is this: allow yourself to loosen, to let your awareness become a little more flexible. Do not be so harsh with yourself. Try telling yourself, this could also be good. That could also be okay. Simply by carrying that kind of softness within you, you will find yourself connected to a higher level of awareness, attuned to the vast currents of universal energy. And in that connection, you will realize that your destiny is not distant, not difficult, not foreign, but has always been walking beside what you feel and what you long for. I also sense that perhaps for quite some time you have developed a habit of making your destiny harder than it needs to be. At times, instead of letting things unfold naturally, you resist, you push back, you want to control. You swim against the current, you strive to prove something, but all of that only leaves you weary and drained. Whereas if you had simply let go, if you had simply accepted your emotions, acknowledged what your heart truly desired, then everything could have already been flowing smoothly, naturally, in harmony with the current of fate. When the 3D ego arises, the part of you rooted in logic, in calculations, in fear, that is the very moment when everything begins to tangle, when a destiny that was originally smooth becomes chaotic. And so, even though it is true that you will still pass through cycles of highs and lows, waves of turbulence in the future, the message remains crystal clear. You are tired, you have had enough, and now it is time for you to long for a path that is more fluid, more graceful, more effortless. And this is also the final whisper from the reading. Learn to entrust yourself, find the courage to release control, and say to the universe, I surrender. Please take me to the best place, the place most aligned and most meant for me. When you can do this, all resistance, all inner conflict will dissolve, and destiny will guide you to the very place where your soul truly belongs. Speak to the universe, whisper to the divine, "Please guide me, please carry me," and then open your heart to surrender, to entrust your whole being to the current of destiny. That is the most beautiful path, the safest and most harmonious way you can choose. Because what is truly being asked of you right now is not to strain yourself in control, not to force order upon everything, but simply to live in alignment with your own truth, to be honest with your heart. That is all, nothing more is required. You do not need to figure out how to resolve it. You do not need to rush to tidy things up or force them into order. If you feel that life now is chaotic, if your soul feels cluttered and disorganized, then let it be so. For that too is a part of life. That is exactly what it means to say, this is life. There are moments of order and there are moments of disorder, but all of it belongs to your journey. And in today's reading, an important concept has appeared, the eye of the heart. This is the place where treasure is kept, the doorway through which you can see truth, the gateway that allows you to touch the purest essence within yourself. I sense that when you find yourself locked in inner struggle, when your mind endlessly thinks, analyzes, and dissects, that is the very moment when reason is dominating you. But the truth is, your treasure does not lie there. The true treasure lies within your heart, the place where you can perceive everything through intuition, through sensation, through the vision that comes directly from your soul. Each one of us was born carrying that treasure, the ability to see with the heart. It is the gift you brought into this world, an innate power that can never be lost. When you see with the heart, you are no longer merely thinking with the mind. You are directly connected with the soul, with the wisdom of the universe. And that is true wisdom, not the dry knowledge of the brain, not the calculations of the 3D world, but a higher form of intelligence, a kind of knowing that transcends reason. Perhaps that is the very reason why you are now facing so many trials. Because these trials are not here to cause you suffering, but to guide you, to shift you gradually from the old way of living, the way of relying solely on reason, on analysis, on calculation, toward a new way of living, to live through the heart, through feeling. No longer looking only at rigid reality, but learning to sense the present with the heart, to envision the future through the eyes of the heart. And when you try to do this, when you dare to use the eye of the heart to gaze into the future, you will realize something extraordinary. Your heart will begin to glow, to tremble with happiness, with excitement. Just as in this very moment, as I speak these words, I myself can feel within my chest a rising thrill, a surge of vibrant energy that cannot be restrained. That is the authentic sensation the heart delivers when it finally touches truth. So believe this. If you allow your heart to lead the way, if you learn how to see with the eye of the heart, then your future will shine with dazzling brilliance. It will not only be bright, it will be bright in the most radiant, sparkling way, like the universe itself laying out before you a path covered in light, a place where you stand illuminated in all the beauty and truth of who you are. I see a future bursting with light, shimmering, beautiful beyond words, indescribable in its fullness, and that is precisely the path your heart is guiding you toward. But it is precisely because you have been using your mind, your reasoning, your thoughts, trying to analyze, to grasp, that you have made yourself restless, anxious, unsettled, feeling as though you cannot see the future clearly, as though you do not know where things are headed or how they will turn out. When the mind is too busy, you are easily drawn into that whirlpool of unease. That is why the message being sent to you now is this. Try looking with the eyes of your heart. Allow your heart to be the source of light, the eye that perceives and welcomes the future, instead of relying solely on the calculations of the mind. And here, an additional message emerges, reflecting stillness, accompanied by the number 33, the number known as that of the Ascended Master. This reveals that what is most important for you at this moment is to learn how to release, how to entrust yourself, how to let your being drift into the current of time. Sometimes not every problem requires your immediate interference. Not every situation demands that you instantly find a solution. There are things that can only be healed, only be untangled, through the natural passage of time. And so, trust that it is precisely this flow that will bring balance, that will provide answers when the right moment arrives. This message speaks with clarity. You do not need to force yourself to do anything. You do not need to compel yourself to make sharp distinctions, to find immediate solutions, to render everything transparent right away. The harder you push, the more you overthink, the more chaotic it all becomes, the more tangled you will feel. The only thing you need to do right now is open your heart, be truthful with what lies within, and let your heart guide you. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? What kind of future do I truly long for? When I look ahead, what vision fills me with complete happiness? Or, even in this very moment, If everything stays just as it is right now, would I feel joy? Let your heart be the one to answer these questions. Simply feel into it. Simply listen. There is no need to act immediately. You do not need to do anything right away. There is no need for hasty action. No need to make rush decisions. The most important thing right now is to allow yourself to return to a state of pure feeling, to let the sensations of your heart guide you, and that alone will gradually transform into reality. Your inner world, when it is truly clear, when it is truly sincere, will naturally reflect itself outward, shaping itself into truth within your life. What is coming to you now, all of it, is blessing, is gift, is grace from the universe. The events, the people, the circumstances you are encountering are nothing other than opportunities designed to lead you back to the purest essence of yourself. They help you remember that innocent, honest, unmasked version of you, the childlike self that never needed to hide behind disguises. These experiences are bringing you toward authentic connections, perhaps a bond with someone deeply important in your life, or perhaps a connection with the work, the purpose, the mission you truly yearn for. This is the stage where the truth within you is being revealed, being brought into the light, so you can once again witness your own authentic nature. And all you need to do is allow yourself to be so. Allow yourself to return to the truth, to come home to yourself. Simply allow. And when you do this, your present situation will begin to shift. This is precisely what the cards emphasize, the very message they want to convey to you. From this moment onward, what is about to be determined, what is about to be decided, will be things of profound importance for you, events with the power to deeply affect your life and your heart. Perhaps it will be a decision that you must make for yourself, yet the sense is not that of a rigid choice between black and white, not a sharp division of right and wrong, but rather of something that naturally takes form, that naturally reaches its resolution. That comes into definition because it was always destined to do so. Everything will move according to its own order. There is no need for you to force it. For example, imagine that in the past you have imposed strict limits on yourself, telling yourself, I must not think this way, I must not act like that, I cannot allow myself to love that person, I should not let my heart be moved by them. You have repeatedly suppressed, repeatedly denied your true emotions, labeling them wrong, forbidden, taboo. But in the end, the truth is profoundly simple. If deep within your heart you truly want, if you truly yearn, or if you truly are in love, then it is that very authentic feeling which will ultimately reveal itself, step into the light, and become reality. That is what it means when we say the decision is already made. It requires no forcing, no battle, only honesty with yourself, only the courage to live true to what is real within you. When you do that, it will naturally manifest. The essence, the heart of it all, is this: allow yourself to be genuine, allow yourself to be forthright with your own soul. I know that this part of the sharing may feel a little difficult to convey, that there may be moments where it seems vague or confusing to you. If what I've said has left anyone feeling unsettled or unclear, then I offer my heartfelt apology. But instead of trying to analyze everything with reason, instead of trying to understand it purely with the mind, I believe it is far better if you allow yourself to listen to this reading with your heart. Do not get too caught up in each word, each phrase, or try too hard to find perfect logic within it. What matters more is that you let yourself feel the frequency, the vibration, the energy I am sending to you right now. Sometimes, simply opening your heart to receive that frequency is enough for you to recognize exactly what you need. So I will close the reading for those of you who chose pile 3 here. If in today's reading you felt that there was even a small spark of light, something that offered you clarity, or soothed a part of your inner confusion, then I am truly glad for that. I hope you have found at least one hint, one sign, or something that has helped ease your mind and lighten your heart. Thank you so much for taking the time to stay with me until the very end of this reading. May you always shine with radiance, and may happiness and peace always be with you. Until we meet again in the next readings.